Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
How you doing this fine Saturday evening, Grump?
Okay, doing pretty good. How about you?
Not bad, not bad. Today's podcast is a little different show than what we usually have in store. Grumpy and I will be out of town for this next Wednesday and Saturday's podcast. So we're going to go 2 days or two show slots without a show. So today's going to be a little different. We're going to have just a call-in show today, hearing from the members of the Islanders community, hearing from the members of the Islanders Never Say Die community, and just reading comments will be today's show. That will be the bulk of today's show. So
talking people down off the ledge,
or maybe people are going to try to convince us of how great of a trade this is. So
is Phil calling in? Is Phil calling in? Phil needs an intervention. I think we need to get him back on this show and have an intervention with Phil. Because he's a freaking loose. He's out of control.
He is a loose cannon, as Grumpy was
loose
about.
Cannon.
But for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This, again, is a twice-a-week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not have a show this next Wednesday and this next Saturday, though. But, again, usual schedule is every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. We also have a secondary podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It can be found in the link in the description below, or it can be found as a featured page here on our YouTube channel called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. We'll be live. We'll miss this Sunday and next Thursday. But we will be back to normal business on Super Bowl Sunday. So we'll do a live stream during Super Bowl Sunday on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man channel. If you're looking for an alternate way to listen to the game or listen to some commentary about Super Bowl Sunday of the Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs, you'll want to check out TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Very true. And why do you want to give a thumbs up and give a like? Why do we want to do that, TJ?
Grumpy, you can tell us, Grumpy, why? Usually helps the algorithm or something, right?
Apparently, it helps the algorithm. Isn't that what you say? Apparently, it helps the algorithm.
Well, that's not what I say. That's usually your bit, Grumpy, where you talk about it and you sound like you're usually the the guy bumbling on about it, but you're a little unfamiliar with it. But yes, Grumpy, apparently it helps the algorithm. But today's show is a little different. Just going to be talking to the listeners of the show, opening up the phone lines. So, Grumpy, I tell you, it's gonna be a little different. It's a while. It's been a while since we opened up the phone lines, I feel like.
It has been a while.
Well, Grumpy, go ahead, Grumpy. I'm gonna let you start reading some comments. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the phone lines here so we could start getting what Grump?
I'm going to read the comment.
I thought you were smiling, Grumpy, like something.
I am smiling because it made me think of something when I saw Joseph C. says, super amazing NHL All-Star game today, only to be eclipsed by the Flag Football Pro Bowl tomorrow. It's time to drop the All-Star games in all sports. To me, the only All-Star game that's worth anything is baseball. In the NBA, no one plays any defense. It's just all your buddies just launching shots. It's not really a game. Hockey used to be better. Now it's a carnival.
I used to enjoy the NHL All-Star game in hockey, Grump.
But the worst one, the absolute worst one, is the NFL Pro Bowl. That's the worst.
Yeah, it's two-hand touch pretty much at this point, and not a fan. Not a fan, grumpy old man.
Not at all.
So, you gotta unfortunately tough through the NHL All-Star game. Nope, and the NFL All-Star game this week too. So got a lot of toughing it out to do.
But one good thing, Brock Nelson wound up winning the shooting accuracy skill competition of the All-Star game yesterday.
I know he won that, but I'm still giving that to Connor McDavid. My God, that first attempt he had it was one of those 4 shots, Grumpy, 4 shots, all 4 targets hit, 9 seconds. I'm like, you know what? That takes the cake, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony Pino Jr. says, love the trade. Okay. Tony, we're glad someone likes it. Actually, there's a lot of people like the trade. It's not the trade itself. It's, for me, what it signifies. That's the thing that bothers me. It's like, we're just going to keep shoveling shit against the tide, just going to keep washing in on you. Do you want to be one of those teams that is kicking around, the 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spot for years and years? Because that's what happens when you kind of do what we've been doing. You can't trade away. You can't trade away draft picks like we have. It's the end.
It's really sustainable when you trade away draft pick after draft pick, Grump.
Yeah, the end is here.
Oh gosh, we got D-Cut calling in, Grump.
Yes, fantastic.
Gents, what's going on, boys?
D-Cut.
Hey, we're live.
I have a question for you, D-Cut.
Yeah, what do you got, bro?
Are you going to talk some mad shit to TJ about him going bald?
Well, you're breaking up a little, buddy. I think TJ screwed up the phone lines.
He probably did.
You know what it is? It's all Grumpy's interference watching that Duke Chapel Hill game.
Yeah.
That's messing with his. That's messing.
I think I'm
going to
have to call back. I think TJ forgot to pay the phone bill here.
Okay, call back in, D-Cut.
I know I paid my phone bill. I'll call you guys back in a couple of minutes. Wait. I think nope. I lost you. I'll call you.
Okay, D-Cut. Oh man, there it is.
Maybe it's probably all on your end. Don't blame me.
It's Grumpy's interference from watching Duke Chapel Hill. We should have started the show, I don't know, about 40 minutes late today because Grumpy would be.
Oh, you're so foolish. I called you. I called your house at 6:45 today. I spoke with the lovely Paige. She says she's going to wake him up at 7:30. I'm like, okay. I'm waiting. Tick, tick, tick. And it's typical TJ time, right? 2 minutes after 8, I said, I'm going to call because I hadn't got a notification. Nothing as usual from TJ. So I wind up calling up and he's like, don't worry. I'm on the way. Be ready.
That's not how that went down. Alexander, how are you, friend?
Good. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I hope you and your families are blessed, staying blessed as well.
We're doing well, Alexander. How about by you? I saw you guys got some snow over there towards Texas, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on this Bo Horvat trade.
Well, we had an ice storm, so yeah, it was actually ice, not snow. So
that's worse.
But first of all, I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. The All-Star, I didn't watch the All-Star game because I think the All-Star game was just pure trash. This whole thing, it lost its luster, in my opinion, because I love the East versus West back in the old days, you know, or North America versus the world. You know, those were good. But Grump, I know you're on the fence about the Bo Horvat trade, but here's the thing. Right, this is a move that can help the team not just now, but in the long term as well. If he re-signs, because we all know that who's going to get this hammer down. Because with Pajot, he was signed, he was re-signed. Palmieri, even though they traded him, he hit free agency, but they still re-signed him. You know, we all know that Horvat's is going to be here long term. Okay, this is not the last move that Lou's going to do. They're going to get another player, a defenseman or another winger. But if you could put, just imagine this: you could put Barzal and Horvat on the first line, move Barzal to wing and keep Horvat at center. Then you could put Palmieri on the first line or Parisi on the right side. That's a decent first line right there. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Okay. Alexander, wonderful talking to you again. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah,
for me, I don't hate the trade. What I didn't like was getting rid of the first round draft pick. I just think it sends it sends the fan base a message, right? I mean, now, and you say, okay, we're going to get another left-handed defenseman or, another winger. Okay. What do you have a value to move? I guess that's a question I have for you. What would you?
We've talked about this.
Well,
second round pick and prospects.
You could possibly get Tarasenko could be a possibility. Maybe you could put a package together for maybe a second or a third round pick, maybe next year. But the first round pick is a top 12 protected pick. So if they don't make the playoffs and their pick becomes a top 10, they keep the pick.
True.
I don't think we're that bad.
I don't think we are either.
Yeah, I don't think we are that bad either.
So I'm going on the assumption that we're going to lose this year's first round draft pick.
Yep.
For the fourth year in a row. And I just, when you mentioned about, well, he's definitely going to be re-signed. Well, I mean, we've talked with some people from the Vancouver area, and they all seem to think he's absolutely going to test free agency. And that should be a concern. You hear Carolina, they only wanted to deal for Horvat if they had an extension. If he signed an extension. That's what killed the Carolina deal. And it's like, okay, that sounds to me like somebody who wants to test free agency. I mean, Lamoriello could get it done, and I hope he does, because then the trade is catastrophic if that doesn't happen. But
yes, I agree.
But if he gets it done,
it's ridiculous.
I mean, I understand, and I agree with you. He makes us a better player. He does. Depends on what he pays. I think he's got the Islanders between a rock and a hard place right now, where they're going to have to pay top dollar to keep him, to stop him from going to unrestricted free agency. And that's a problem.
And on top of that, he's a guy who's a career 55. Sometimes he can scratch 61 points in a season. It's not a guy he's not this last year. His performance is not the norm. It's a guy who's having a career year and a contract season. So that automatically gives me worry and a little bit of angst with it as well. It's just, there's a lot more question marks, and I think ways that this move could go wrong compared to the ways it could go right. And that's why I'm not in favor of it. But
you know what, you guys, hey, you know what, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, man, and that's the beauty about it, But at the end of the day, we can agree to disagree, but we all know one thing, that we all want to root for this team to win. And that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Alexander, I have a question. What does your uncle think of the trade?
You broke up.
Alexander,
you broke up, bro.
Alexander, what does your uncle think of the trade?
Oh, he loves it, actually.
I know he will.
And he actually said to me that, Good. Now they could get rid of Barzell.
That's how we should know we need to be. This trade is going to be doomed for failure. Alexander's uncle likes
that man needs
trade,
help.
we're in trouble.
Your uncle needs help, Alexander. We need to do an intervention on him as well as Phil.
Oh, good gracious.
Listen, and mention the D-Cup real quick. I agree. Okay, fine. Hire my uncle. Okay, hire my uncle then. No, because he likes to put that fiery TJ higher Alexander's uncle.
Oh.
But and also just for the record, you guys, I do not believe Tua is the guy, but there is no one better out there right now.
Not anymore.
Better than Tua right now.
Not anymore. Not as of Wednesday.
Okay. Don't get him started on this Tom Brady stuff, Alexander. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you so much for the call. Thank you.
Hey guys, it was a pleasure, man. You guys stay safe, and hope you guys have a safe trip and enjoy yourselves.
All
you guys.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Alexander.
much.
Thank you. Yeah, I was about to say we can't get grumpy old man on the Tom Brady.
No, I'm not talking about Tom Brady anymore.
Give him a little bit of an inch and he'll run with it. Give him an inch and he'll take
I
a
didn't
mile.
even mention his name. You did, not me.
No. You were starting to mention that, Grump, and that's all we need to know. Mikey D, Grumpy.
You guys see the Halak comeback story? 5-0-0 and a 93, almost 94% save percentage and a 1.80 goals against his last 5 games after an awful start. Credit to their goalie coaches with him and Igor Shesterkin. I don't know about that. You know what? Here's the thing. I like Halak. Always liked Halak. Unfortunately, he's playing for the Rangers, so I'm not rooting for him. But you know what? Good for him that he's having a career resurgence as a backup. No problem there.
Hey, D-Cut, you're back on. How are you? Did the connection come through better this time?
Yeah, I guess you paid the bill. A little ACH there, TJ. Good job. How you guys doing tonight?
We're alive, D-Cut. I'm alive at least.
All right. How you doing, pal? How you doing, Grump?
I'm doing splendid, D-Cut. Now, I mean,
you could see his mood might change about 5 or 6 times depending on what Duke Blue Devils are doing on TV.
Okay, so let me. I don't know why TJ keeps saying those things. Now, D-Cut, usually when D-Cut comments, he's slamming Lou Lamoriello. He's attacking TJ, but I don't think you ever voiced your opinion on what you think of the trade.
Well, I'm going to go back to before the season started. You guys had that call-in segment, what worried you the most?
Yes.
About the team. And if you remember, everyone was saying, first-line winger or third-pair lefty. People were saying a first-year coach. And I was the one, and I know TJ always brings up this tweet a year ago that he put out. But I said Lou Lamoriello trading another first-round pick. And to be honest with you, I kind of blame Malkin on this one more than Lou, and I'll tell you why. When you have an 80-year-old owner, what do you expect him to do? This guy, he could be dead tomorrow. He could be dead in a year. He don't care about rebuilding 2 years, 3 years. He'll give away this year's first-round pick. He'll give away next year's first-round pick. He'll give away the first-round pick 3 years from now. So when you have an 80-year-old GM, that's what you're going to get. And the more I thought about it, the more I said, I can't blame Lou. Obviously, you guys know what I feel about Lou. But he's an old man. He went out and he got probably the best player out there, between Meyer and Horvat. And do I like the trade? Grump, I'm kind of like you. I like the player. I've always said I thought Barzell would be a better winger than a center. I think it frees him up from his defensive responsibility. Obviously, he's not a good face-off guy. I know you guys don't put a ton of stock into face-offs. I put a little more in. But I'm not a huge Ratu guy. I think his ceiling's probably a third-line center. I don't see him as a top 6 player. The first-round pick is probably going to be in the middle of the first round. So I can't kill the pick, and I can't kill the trade, and I can't kill Lou for making the trade. I kill the owners. The owners coming into this year put too much faith in Lou Lamoriello. Obviously, my feelings about Trotz. They had to transition to a younger GM this year to go along with a younger coach. And the fact that he went out and got Horvat to try to make the playoffs doesn't shock me. What do you guys think?
I was given some thought on that, just as you just mentioned it here. I wonder why Lamoriello went with Lane Lambert as opposed to someone more established, and then I thought to myself, well, maybe this is his last year as GM, and he's like, no self-respecting coach is going to come in here if I hire them, and then a new GM comes in a year and maybe he gets canned, and maybe that's why he went with Lane Lambert. At least that's what I'm hoping anyway. I'm just grasping at straws, but I'm hoping that's why he hired Lane Lambert myself.
I tend to think it's because he wanted a coach. Remember, he's had high profile people as coaches, but he really hasn't had high profile coaches. I mean, he didn't pick Babcock in Toronto. Babcock was there when he got there. Generally, the coaches that he picks, I think he controls a little bit. I think he was uncomfortable with Trotz in a way because he brought him in. He knew Trotz would bring instant credibility, obviously, which he did, and brings a defensive star that Lou likes. But Trotz isn't going to listen to a GM, whether it's Bill Torrey, whether it's Lou Lamoriello. He's an established 20-year head coach who just came off a Stanley Cup, and he's not going to listen to Lou Lamoriello and what Lou Lamoriello thinks of what the lineup should be and what who should play and what the power plays and the penalty kill should be. And I think it's a control thing. We all know Lou's a control freak, and I think Lambert probably went from making $150,000 to $1 million. So obviously he's going to take the job. Anyone would. But to me, he's a puppet of Lamoriello. He tried to implement his style a little bit. But I think him and Lou sit before every game. I think they talk about the lineup. And I think beforehand, Trotz, he would, okay, Lou, I understand, blah, blah, blah. And he would do his own thing. That obviously you're not going to tell Barry Trotz what to do when it comes to coaching. So that's why I think he brought in sort of a rookie that he knew, obviously, who was an assistant coach, and felt, you know what, I could kind of make this guy a little Pinocchio and play him a little bit and, play the guys I want to play. Obviously, we saw Casper Holmstrom come up and play on the first line. I mean, you can't tell me that Lane Lambert, who wants to play an up-tempo, kind of a hybrid fast system, puts Casper Holmstrom on the first line as soon as he comes up. Obviously, we all know, as Lamoriello said, you got to put this guy in the first line. So that's the reason I think he hired Lamoriello. He hired Lambert to be the coach. I think he didn't want to bring in a high-profile coach because it would be the same thing that he went through with Trotz, a little frustration that Trotz wasn't doing what he wanted to do. Trotz was doing what obviously what Trotz wanted to do. So that's kind of my feeling. Look, if we sneak into the playoffs, I don't think we have a shot against Carolina. We all know that they don't match up with Carolina. Boston, look, I don't see him. Obviously, Boston's so good. I don't see him having a shot to beat Boston, but I think they actually match up a little better with Boston than they do Carolina for whatever weird reason. The games are generally close. But, back when they beat Boston, I know Rask had the injury, but the Islanders also had veteran defensemen. I know we shit on Andy Green a lot, but, he's been through wars. Romanov, I mean, I don't even want to get started with him. So I don't think this team is as playoff built as it was, a couple of years ago when we made those runs. I think obviously we have great goalie and we have a shutdown pair of D who slipped a little bit over the last couple of years. But, to me, it's Lamoriello. Also a big ego thing. He fired Trotz and everyone said, you know what, Trotz had some say in some of the moves he made. And everyone said the season was on Lamoriello. He saw the season was going down fast, and he knew he had to make a move to try to save the season, even if it hurt next year or the year after, and that's what he did. Selfish move, but look, like I said, 80-year-old man is going to do what he needs to do. So I'll let you guys go. I appreciate all the time. I know it's been a while since we got a chance to talk, but I'll hang up, listen to you guys, and shout out to Isles Misery Rated R.
There you go.
Maddie Skaloff, Frankie Cap, all the boys out there, and some of the other groups also that TJ kisses their butts. I also like a little bit. But that's about it, boys. Enjoy your vacations. You guys deserve it, obviously. You guys have put out a ton of content, and I know I like to break your balls a little bit, but you know how I really feel about you. I love the shows. So you guys do well, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, D-Cut.
D-Cut, thanks for the call.
You know,
Thank you.
It's funny. It's funny. D-Cut mentioned how Lamoriello was hired big names before, or known names, but not big-time coaches. And you know what? He's right. I remember when he was with the Devils, I think it was Jacques Lemaire's first job as a head coach. I think he was an assistant in Minnesota, I believe. And then Larry Robinson was his first time as head coach when he first hired him. And I'm just thinking some of the other guys.
Peter DeBoer's
a lot of guys as first-time head coaches. And that's an interesting comment that he made. And all these guys turned out to be really good head coaches. But you know what? Maybe Lou felt that he could kind of pull the strings a little bit when they were first starting, or maybe they would go to him for advice for coaching. So, you know, maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. I wish I would have thought of that. I could have put it into my, my thesis.
There it is. I'll tell you, I do think more of Ratu, I guess, than most. I think he's probably second line center, which is valuable in the NHL. I think, we've given up another first round pick once again, as I've mentioned, which is, again, bad precedents to set. And we're going to be trading away more draft picks and more draft capital and more, prospects. That's just the mentality our general manager has, unfortunately. And it's going to lead us to a point to where we're going to be in the cellar for quite some time.
I'm not against moving prospects per se, but when you don't have any and you don't have any draft picks and you have no one in the pipeline, you can't continue to trade whatever value you do have. I mean, that's the thing that bothered me. It wasn't that we moved Ratu or even that we moved the first round pick. In this draft, I'm not moving a first round pick, but let's say it was another year. Okay, because I like Bo Horvat as a player. I really do. Is he going to be re-signed? I mean, that's if he doesn't resign.
I don't get the love for a guy who puts up 55 points a year. What's up with that? That's grumpy. That's just a guy who's a top six guy putting up 55 points a year. We carbon copy that, and you could slap him on any team in the league. 55 points a season on average. Does that really get you excited? Does that get you thinking to yourself, oh, great, a guy who's having a career year, who usually is about 55 points, he's gonna continue on this pace and continue, a career year, which is in a contract season for him in years in the future?
You know what? I'll touch on your comment in a second, but I just wanted to say, you realize that Anders Lee is a poor man's Bo Horvat.
Anders Lee puts up and has put up more points in the past than Bo Horvat has. You know that, right?
Not really.
Yes, really. The numbers don't lie. Yes, really. Think about this. Bo Horvat's Anders Lee. We brought another Anders Lee on the team. Strong,
better skater, though.
Hold on. Strong leader, a guy who fights in front of the net. Look at Stefan Rosner broke it down how many what the point breakdown had looked like for Bo Horvat this year, and it's not fantastic. Let me put you like that.
It's Anders Lee like.
It is. He's just like fucking Anders Lee. All we did was just say, here's another Anders Lee. Is that what the team needed?
He's
Anders Lee on a career year.
He's a way better skater than Anders Lee. He's a better defensive player than Anders Lee. That's the difference. That's why I say Anders Lee is a poor man's Bo Horvat. But their playing style is very, very similar. Yes.
Yikes. We don't need another one of those. Hey, you're live here with TJ the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in? Oh, hello?
Maybe you called yourself.
No, I did get some echo and reverb, but no, I didn't call myself. Yeah, I was about to say, I'll pull up that information on Bo Horvat as you're still looking at comments, but it was not, I'll tell you this much, it was not, when I saw how he scored a lot of tapping goals, a lot of redirection goals, a lot of tip goals, I'm like, yeah, this is a guy who just plops his ass in front of the net and happens to to knock in a few pucks. Is that somebody we need to be paying? We're already paying Anders Lee 7 years times $7 million. Do we need to hire Anders Lee 2.0 and pay him 7 years times 8 or $8.5 million? This is essentially another Anders Lee's contract coming up.
Well,
that's scary too.
You better re-sign him, or this trade was colossally bad. If you don't re-sign him, you gave him your best prospect and a number 1 pick in a super deep draft, as well as another serviceable player.
Resign or not, I still think it's not good for it's a loss for the philosophy of the team going forward.
Well, that's my thing. It's like, where do you go from here? Everyone says, well, we want to get, we're going to make more moves. With what?
We are going to trade away more draft picks and more prospects. I told you this.
We don't have anything of value for this year.
You keep saying that draft picks next year don't matter. Guess what, Grumpy? They matter to some teams, and those teams are going to trade.
You're not going to be able to get a high. You're not going to be able to get a high-end talent with next year's draft pick.
Yes, you for certain will.
No, you won't.
Anyway, hey, you're live with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
This is Apex Legends Senior Citizen calling.
Yeah.
How are you, Apex Legends? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm a big fan of the show, and I appreciate the call-in show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What are you thinking about this Bo Horvat trade?
I think it's a disaster. I think you got an 80-year-old failed general manager who went all in for a non-playoff team. And even though my name is Apex Legends Senior Citizen, I'm still in my 30s, and I'd like to see a Stanley Cup one day. And as long as his general manager is in charge, I don't see that happening anytime soon. He set the team back a couple of years, at least 3 to 4 years, and it's very disappointing.
I was about to say, well, you'll be looking at your cup run maybe in your 40s, maybe early 50s. Maybe that's when we get poised for a little cup run. Grumpy will be.
I'll be dead by then.
Grumpy won't. Yeah, I was about to say, Grumpy's seen his last cup, 1980s. Grumpy. So hold on, Apex. Let me ask you a question. So that's not you in your picture playing with the video games? No, Grumpy.
No, that's Lou Lamoriello in a different life, in a different universe.
Oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed. I'm like, oh man, I love this guy. Looks like he's in his 80s over here playing the videos, the white hair.
Another old gentleman.
Another old guy. Yeah, I love that. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
I was really thinking, I'm like, gosh, please tell me that's him.
No.
I just love the picture. What can I tell you? I love the picture.
I'm sorry, Apex. Go ahead.
I love the picture.
No, it's okay. A couple of things I want to touch on, though. William Dufour, you're wrong about him, Gom. I know you like to bash his skating, but he's going to be a player. Also, the organization is terrified to give Ishkakov a chance, and he's a tremendous skater, very high IQ, and very creative with the puck. He's what we need on the power play. The problem is the leadership in the organization will not roll the dice. They're risk averse, and they won't take a chance on the youth. They'd rather trade a second or third round for a role player like they did with a couple of years ago for the playoff run.
Yeah,
I agree with them being risk adverse. I mean, that's why you need a whole regime change. In my opinion, need a whole regime change. If that kid's lighting it up in the A, why not give him a shot? I firmly believe. Now, William Dufour, I don't think he's a great skater. I think he can shoot the puck. I think he's got good hockey sense, but he needs to work on his skating. If he works on his skating, he'll be fine. I was hoping he would be a better skater than what I saw in the Q last year, and I haven't seen it this year. But he could get better. He needs himself a personal skating coach to get better. That I firmly believe that. But he also
did him dirty, but.
Well, you're right.
The NHL's top team. I mean, they're just stupid moves.
Well, you're right there. It's like, okay, we'll bring him up. We'll play him on the fourth line for 5 minutes in a game. But that's Simon Holmstrom. He's going to come up. He's going to play on the first line. He's going to play in critical situations. That's a Lamoriello move all the way.
Yeah, that's how Lamoriello treats most of the young guys. But certain guys, for whatever reason, just get handed a pass to where they get it on the easy street. And most
Look, my
guys
first
like
round picks pan out.
most guys like the 4, most guys like Atu Ratu, they were not afforded the same exact luxury as guys like Simon Holmstrom. Couldn't tell you why.
I could.
Yeah.
It's his only first
Appreciate
round
the
draft.
show, guys.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Apex. Thank you. We'll get back here. Thank you, Apex. Yeah, Grump, I tell you, I feel like most fans are kind of, and here's the thing, right? I feel like it's kind of had a chance to kind of, settle this trade. So I feel like the anger we're going to get, or the fans who are not in favor of this trade, won't be as angry as it would have been, I don't know, the night of the trade per se. But, it speaks to it, even with still you're holding after a week after the trade, you're still holding that thought process of this is a step in the wrong direction for the team. I think a lot of fans are in agreement with that too.
I found it interesting that the pictures that we're taking that I've seen of the All-Star game is him with Pedersen, but not him with Sorokin and Nelson. I thought that was interesting.
I don't know. Maybe the cul-de-sac crew is going to reject him. The cul-de-sac crew maybe won't take him in. So who the hell knows?
But it's imperative. It's imperative they resign him. Imperative.
It's Anders Lee 2.0. Do we want another Anders Lee contract? I'm not like, hey, we've got to sign. If you were given the option to say, hey, we need Anders Lee, we need to double down to get another Anders Lee contract, would you be signing up for that? I'm not sure, Grumpy. I'm not sure. This is a me by Shay. It says Grumpy before versus after the Horvat trade.
The way you feel. One kiss is all it takes. Falling in love with me. The way you feel.
Grumpy was happy when he saw Bo Horvat in that Vancouver Canucks sweater, and as soon as he gets moved to the Islanders, not a fan at all, Grumpy.
That is not true.
Look at this. You're dancing around, Grumpy, with some rhythm. Yeah! And you saw him being traded to the Islanders, and you're not thrilled.
Hold on. That's not true. Everyone knows I love Bo Horvat. He's a guy I wanted. I just don't like that we gave. Why couldn't we just sign him as an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year? Why give up a whole bunch of assets?
Hold on. You like Anders Lee then. You're a big Anders Lee guy.
No.
I need you to take back the average Anders Lee. This is Anders Lee in another uniform. This is what we're looking at. Anders Lee with a different build. With Anders Lee without a cleft jaw that hangs over and could go ahead and topple the earth. This is just a different AndersLee with a different.
He's an Anders Lee that can win faceoffs. He's an Anders Lee that
Anders Lee wins faceoffs.
No, he can't. No. He's an Anders Lee. He's an Anders Lee who can skate, and an Anders Lee who could play defense, and also an Anders Lee who's not afraid to go in the corners, like this Anders Lee that we have. This is, like I said, Anders Lee is a poor man's Bo Horvat. That's what he is now. He's Bo light. I'll put it to you that way. Bo light.
Did you crack yourself up there, Grumpy?
Pretty much.
Oh, God. I'm telling you, the more and more I think about this, the more it is actually, I think, better for the long-term success of the team not to sign him.
Oh, my God. You can't say that now. Come on.
I'm being dead ass.
Come on. You just traded away any assets you had for this year, and you don't think
fine. If we don't sign him, we're starting the retool.
Oh,
that's pretty obvious.
God.
Hold on. Come on, Grump. Oh, man. All right, Grumpy. You could be reading comments as I'm getting.
Well, how about you put the comments up?
As I'm getting people linked in. I don't know. Pay attention, Grumpy. I'm trying to multitask a million things.
How am I going to put? I comments
twiddling thumbs, watching college basketball, doing who the hell knows what over there, Grumpy.
You're insane.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hello there, TJ and Grump. This is Andrew Gross from Newsday there, just calling in. I saw that you guys were having the call-in segment, so I figured I'd, pick your brains a little bit, on all this Bo Horvat trade going on. First of all, how are you doing, Grump and TJ? How are you guys?
I'm doing splendid.
I know you're a big fan of Andrew Gross, Grumpy. I'll let you. Grumpy, you should be. You're like shell shock, Grumpy. Andrew Gross on the
I'm
show.
super excited that Andrew called in today. I want to hear his insights on everything.
Yes. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, well, I had 3 or 4 questions for you guys. The first one is, why is it that you have my colleague and fellow journalist, Isles reporter, Stefan Rosner on the show, Andy Sandberg, you got this Phil Fiction character coming on there, the janitor, Thomas Baffy, but you never invite me on the show, guys. Well, why is that?
I'm sorry, Andrew. You're such a busy guy. I just figured that you wouldn't have time for the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. But I guess we need to now, Andrew Gross. I'm going to hit you up in the DMs. We're going to go ahead and DM you up, and we'll get a time, because I think usually if you associate with our podcast, it only does wonders for your career. Newsday, going to see a huge increase in viewership. Newsday going to see a huge increase on his Andrew Gross articles. That's for certain now.
I think the reason why we haven't had
what's your take there on why don't you want Andrew Gross on the podcast there, Grump, and how come it's all TJ's buddies, but how come not me?
Because that's the way TJ is. It's always his little buddies. I hate his buddies too, believe me. Every single one of them. They're all jerks, just like he is. But, I think I'd love to have you on the show, but somebody's got to get me through that paywall to read your articles on Newsday. That's the problem I have.
So we have to try to broker
all right
a deal.
There, Grump. Yeah, I'll see what I can do there. Now, the next question I have for you fellas is, are you happier with what we gave up for Horvat over there, or would you rather have signed Nazem Kadri to an 8x8?
It's probably going to be looking at the same no matter what. And Nazem Kadri at least would have been free at the end of the year.
Yeah, but man,
Nazem
Kadri is going to be way older when that deal's done.
You don't think we're going to give Bo Horvat an 8-year contract?
I don't know. I don't know if we're even going to resign him. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we don't want Anders Lee 2.0 on the team long term, so I understand.
Well, as long as we get Anders Lee 1.0 gone, that's what I want.
The original Anders Lee gone.
But seriously, about that, I'd rather have Horvat. I mean, regardless of I didn't like what it cost to get Bo Horvat, but he's younger, and I like Kadri as a player, but man, oh man, that was just too long a term. He's going to be too old. I don't want to sign guys to those type deals.
Looking at what the team's going to be here in a few years, actually, I probably would have gone with Nazem Kadri. Looking at it in retrospect instead of Bo Horvat, your team's going to bottom out. You're going to have to fully blow this thing up from the ground, from the ground floor. A guy like Nazem Kadri, sure, would he been 34 years old, 35 when you're blowing things up? Yeah, absolutely. But what's the difference between blowing it up when he's 34 or 35 or when Bo Horvat's 31, 32 years old? There's no difference in my opinion. And we would have kept the first-round pick and Atu Ratu. Yeah, looking back on it, if this was the mastermind plan, I rather would have us gone after Nazem Kadri a little bit more. But both moves are still.
I'm happy that I was able to help get you the juices flowing in your guys' brains there a little bit. That just it leads me into my next question, fellas, which what do you think would be the appropriate contract to offer a player like Bo Horvat? What do you think would be a fair fair deal for both sides there?
I'll let you take that first.
Well, he's already turned down 7 and 7, right? We're 7
by 7.5 is what he's already turned.
I would want to pay him more than that. You're going to have to give him what, 8.5?
Right? 0 years, $0.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Come on now! Come on!
Oh man!
It gives us, here's the thing: if he doesn't resign, it gives us show content for the whole offseason, without a doubt.
Well, here's the thing: Lou Lamoriello will be gone at that point, so we'll be shitting on a guy who won't even be here.
Oh my God!
It would give us show content for an entire offseason. But
I think it doesn't matter what I think it should be. It's what it's going to be. Will he offer him 8 at 8? Maybe.
Oh, I could see maybe 8, maybe 7 at 8.5 or 8. Yeah, my gosh.
I'd rather.
It's just an awful contract. It's Anders Lee 2.0 of a contract to Anders Lee 2.0. So I'm a little terrified of what we're going to offer Bo Horvat.
Okay.
So my next question for you fellas is: were you aware of the hockey guy? He's a successful YouTuber, much successful than more successful than you guys. He has a lot more subscribers. He's got a lot more views, and his videos make a lot more money. He says that the Islanders won that trade deal with Vancouver. What is your take on that?
He don't know
Well,
shit.
he might have the views, but you know what he doesn't have? He doesn't have the intelligence or the wherewithal that we have.
He's not the curve. Let's put
That's
it like that. Yeah, you could just sit there. I'm familiar with him. I've got no ill will against him. The guy,
never
you know what
seen
it
him.
sounds like? It sounds like a guy who doesn't watch the games or the specific Islanders on a night in, night out basis. He watches every team. But, does he watch the Islanders as in tuned as we do as fans? Probably not. And I mean, like, I know he's a big, I think, Toronto Maple Leafs guy. So,
That's why. That's
Well,
why.
He's a Canucks fan. He's a Bruins fan, and he's a Dallas Stars fan.
So he's happy, I'm sure, that Bo Horvat got moved for, a future number 2 center and a first round pick. I'm sorry. So I'd be happy if I was a Vancouver fan too, for a guy that was going to test the market. So, yeah,
Are you guys aware of the trade rumors floating around for that we're going to give Josh Bailey 2.0, aka Casper, William Dafoe, and a 2020 first rounder for Timo Meyer? Are you aware of the trade rumor, and how do you feel about it?
Oh gosh,
It sounds like that was something cooked up by CJ, the Red Lupin Power Ranger, to me.
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know. I don't see us making that big of a splash. Additionally, we're going to make additional splashes. I'm not sure it's going to be of the magnitude of the Bo Horvat move. Thank God, because if we did, we'd just be giving up even more picks and draft capital. So yeah, but Andrew,
all right.
Gross,
And my last question for
Go
you
ahead.
guys, I got one more for you. What has more value on eBay? Grumpy's old sat on fart-stained couch there, or Josh Bailey's jock strap?
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Sorry.
Gross. Thank you so much, Andrew Gross, for the call in. Grumpy, I'll let you. What do you think it is more?
It's my couch. It's
Your
the
old couch?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I won't fight you too hard. Here it is. This is what Stefan Rosner had put out there, Grumpy. Here are the breakdown of the Bo Horvat goals this year, guys. This is what we have to look forward to. 12 tip-ins / deflections. I wonder who does a lot of that on our team currently, who sits in front of the net and just redirects a shot on net. Okay, 12 of those. 7 one-timers / tap-ins.
See, I want to know how many one-timers and how many tap-ins. I
Okay,
think that's important.
let's even look at it and say it's very, very heavily in Bo Horvat's favor. 6 one-timers, 1 tap-in, and it probably isn't
That's
even
for
that
power
great.
play. That's power play.
What?
If he's one-timing, those are on power plays.
Yeah, okay. 3 snipes, good. 4 rebound goals. Okay, so 4 of the Anders Lee specials as well, where the puck's just kind of bouncing around. He's in the area and just knocks in an open net. 1 loose puck goal. 1
He's
breakaway and 3 empty netters. So he'll be leading the team in empty net goals. But look at how many tip-in deflection. This is not great. This is not. Here's the thing. People who are expecting a guy who's going to be able to snipe like a Vladimir Tarasenko, Bo Horvat is not that guy. That's more why I'm showing you this.
Okay, so he's got 3 empty netters. That's good. He fits right in with our team. He can be right in there with Croc, Average, Parise. We got a whole bunch of guys who can play. They're probably drawing straws. Hey, if the Islanders ever get a lead in the last minute, hey, who gets to draw a straw to get that empty net goal? So he's going to be
come on the ice. I want to come on. Give me that last shift.
I mean, that's the way that's going to be, right? The fact that he had a breakaway goal, Average never having one of those. Loose puck, nope. Average never having one of those. Rebounds, nope. Not having any snipes, absolutely not. I think he has had a snipe this year. One-timer, 0 for Average Anders Lee. 0. 0. 0. 0. I can't remember the last time he had a one-timer goal. I cannot remember it. That's the difference right there. There's your difference.
The fact that he's got 6 I don't even know how many one-time. Okay, he doesn't have 7 one-time goals. You wouldn't include tap-ins. You wouldn't include tap-ins if it was a tap-in, if there were no tap-in goals. You just said one-time goals, Grump.
One-timer, 7.
Yeah, it's one-timer / tap-ins. Okay, one-timer is plural, is singular. Tap-ins is plural, which would lead me to believe one-time goals, 6 tap-in goals. Grumpy! Anders Lee 2.0. Drew Licata, how are you this fine evening?
The meme lord has entered the call. Are you ready?
The meme lord. Doing well, Drew. How are you?
Good. I just had one simple question, and it's something that I've been thinking about ever since this trade has happened. What's our top 6 going to look like now that, you have Beauvillier gone? I know he was bad, but he did provide a little bit of depth for us. And now I'm curious as to who's going to fit on there. Is it going to be Josh Bailey? Is it going to be Zach Parise? Is Barzal going to move to wing? I have no idea. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
I think Barzal goes to wing, and I think Horvat's going to center the first line. Matt Barzal is going to play wing, and you're still going to have Brock Nelson as a second-line guy with Jean-Gabriel Pageau on the third line and Cizikas on that fourth line. But I do think Matt Barzal gets bumped to wing.
And you know why Bo Horvat's going to be taking the center position, TJ?
Why is that?
Because he wins face-offs, damn it. He wins face-offs, and that is lose regime. If you win face-offs, you play center. The stupid regime that has been killing our team for God knows how long. Instead of getting talented guys who can skate and score. But you know what he'll trade for? Face-off winners. Sign them to massive extensions and bring them along for the ride of the suckage. There you go.
He'll trade for see you, Drew. He'll trade for the guy that tips in with deflection goals and has tip-in goals and everything like that. That's what we're looking for. Well, looking at this again, I'm hoping that Stefan did some wrong calculations, or whoever he grabbed this from was seriously wrong, because this is Sport Films on YouTube broke it down. That's not, I mean, like when you look at the breakdown of goals, yikes, that's not something that should excite you. 12 tip-in / deflections. 7 one-timers / tap-ins, 3 snipes, 4 rebounds, 1 loose puck, 1 breakaway, 3 empty netters.
See, to me, the 7 one-timers and the 3 snipes, that's the
okay.
difference.
No, it's one-timers / tap-ins. So again, he's at least got 1 tap-in, if not more, in that category.
That means that a puck maybe came to him and he banged it in. I don't know. Like I said, I like Bo Horvat. I do. So,
I'm glad you like Bo Horvat. I'm glad you like Anders Lee. I just need you to stop calling him average Anders.
But he is average, because I've gone through the breakdown how he equals average. He's below average now. Bo Horvat, better skater, better face-off guy, better defender. And he's a better goal scorer as well.
Better defender.
Yes. Absolutely, he's a better defender. Absolutely.
He's a solid defensive player. I think Grumpy is about to be gravely upset with what he sees on the ice when Bo Horvat gets moved when he first starts playing. Maybe he'll be happy. Dude, you were selling him like he is the second coming of Christ. This guy sounds and looks like another Anders Lee.
He's an all-around player. Anders Lee is not.
Anders Lee is one of those all-around guys.
No, he's not. No, he can't skate and he doesn't play any defense. How can you say he's all-around?
Not one of the best skaters in the NHL. Is he just an average skater? Don't worry, you can answer honestly.
He's a way better skater than average Anders Lee. Way better. Way better.
So we've got
not a little better, way better.
We have an Anders Lee with average skating.
Here's his. He's like Connor McDavid if you compare his skating to average Anders. Let me just put it to you that way.
So what's Bo Horvat skating if we compare him to Connor McDavid's skating? Is it kind of like William Dufour out there on the ice, Grumpy?
Better than Brock Nelson. Better than Brock Nelson.
Oh, okay. We're hearing it here. Bo Horvat, better skater than Brock Nelson. Mm-hmm. So Bo Horvat's gonna be one of the best skaters on the team, is what you're telling me.
You don't like Bo Horvat. See, that's your problem. You don't like
Look at the goal. Look at the goal layout for this guy in a career year. Tap-ins, deflections. Great. This is Anders Lee 2.0.
Okay. It's one-timers.
7 one-timers / tap-ins.
And 3 snipes.
3 snipes. That's great.
Anders
3
Lee,
snipes the entire season. We're averaging 1 good goal every 20 games. Aha! That's great.
Anders Lee has had 1 snipe in 3 years.
He had a snipe this year, Grumpy.
That's what I said. This was it. He had 1 this year.
Oh,
and
great.
I said, holy shit. He never shoots it. First of all, he was more than 2 foot away from the net. Bo Horvat's a good player. You're selling
So
him. You're selling him to it.
Bo Horvat has 2 more snipes than Anders Lee. That's
Now,
great.
If he gets signed to a 7 or 8 year extension, well,
He's going to get signed to a 7 or 8 year extension, and we have Anders Lee 2.0 then locked into our team.
What I'm saying is, as good as he is now, that's not going to age well when he's 35. He might turn into Anders Lee now by the time he's 35. He's better than Anders Lee. He just is.
Okay.
Oh.
Average Anders Lee 2.0. Explosive diary, Grumpy.
Oh, I guess they must have shot down that. At least I hope they shot it down.
Yes, that was in your neck of the woods, Grumpy. That was in, I believe, South Carolina, North Carolina, something like that. In your neck of the woods. I'm shocked you didn't know about that.
I did know about this. I didn't know it was shot down, but good. I'm glad somebody shot it down.
Alexander, Grumpy.
TJ taking a big dump in the bathroom. He looks tired.
No, I'm not tired. That's for certain. Brian B.
Brian B., good evening, sir. My brother from another mother. There he is. He looks so good in that shirt, doesn't he, in those glasses? Really good.
Yeah, the sun's shining off his body.
Lou has to go. 100% in agreement there.
Tony G's, Grumpy.
I don't know if I want to be in a community full of South Floridians.
That's like Drew L. Like a South Floridians, Grumpy. Mikey D.
How many years until we can compete for the top 3 Metro spot? Canes, Devon, Rangers have bright futures unlike us. I'm going to say a minimum of 5 years. Minimum.
No, I'm going to say it's like a decade.
No, you cannot say a decade.
It's like a decade. Because here's the thing. It's like a decade. Because Columbus is having consistency in top 5 selections year after year after year. That, as bad as they are now, guys like Joseph Kent, they're players. You could tell they're starting to show signs. That's a team that when we are on the way down, they're still on the way up. The Devils are going to be, they're on the way up. They're going to be there for a while. How long do you expect the Carolina Hurricanes to be there? That organization's run extremely well. I expect them there for a while. And the Rangers are of a young nucleus, Grumpy, with a really good goalie, too. It's not like you could say they've got a lot of holes. Defensively, sure, they have some holes, but what team doesn't? It's for a top 3 spot, dude, we're looking at probably a decade.
Okay. No, it's not going to be a decade. There's going to be no one on this team who's here now is going to be here in a decade, save maybe Noah Dobson. And Bo Horvat if he signs an extension. But other than that, it's going to be most of this team's going to be gone, okay, in 10 years. It's going to be, I want to say 5 years. I want to say before you can realistically say 5. 10 is just ridiculous. Why don't you say 100 years? Why don't you just say that? Because 10 years is like, let's forget about it. It's ridiculous.
And
10 years.
Kent Johnson, a young player for Columbus, who again is showing signs.
Okay, but Columbus is the worst team.
Cole Sillinger, another player. Both players were drafted in 2021. Both players were drafted in 2021. Not even, they're still teenagers, Grump. Kent Johnson, or he just turned 20. He just turned 20 this year, and I'm sure Cole Sillinger, maybe he just turned 20. So you've got 2 different, Cole Sillinger is still 19 years old. So you've got a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old that play in top 9 forward positions, Grump. And you got David Juracek that you drafted, Denton Matchuk that you drafted too. They had the last 2 years in a row. They had 3 years ago, they had 3 first-round picks, and this last year they had 2 first-round picks, a 5th, a 12th, and a 25th 2 years ago, and a 6th and a 12th this last year. They are taking the load up on draft picks and see how you do through the draft. That's a team that when we're still on the way down 3, 4, 5 years from now, they're going to be on a team on the rise.
Okay. 3, 4, 5 years from now, we're already going to be down and out.
Okay, sure. That team's going to be on the rise. That team is going to be your new Devils.
Okay, but, here's the thing. As the Rangers players get older, they're real young. The Devils are real young. Carolina is still pretty young. I mean, you're going to lose people to free agency. I mean, that's just what happens. If you're good, you lose guys to free agency. That's why I'm saying 5 years. You can go from worst to first in 5 years. And
what team, right? Because I look at it like this. The Penguins, the Capitals, and the Islanders are all a team with an old makeup and we're composed full of old players. Who do you trust more on the rebuild? Do you trust more the Capitals, the Penguins, or the Islanders? Because, like, if we're saying what team will be having a chance to get us in the top 3 sooner, how long do you think each one of those rebuilds take? What organization you think is going to do a better job with a rebuild?
I have no idea because I've never seen any of those franchises with their current general managers rebuild. Not a one. What's the last? I guess what was the Penguins the last team that had a rebound when Crosby and Malkin came in? I mean, that's the last time they were in a rebuild, right? When was the last time Washington was in a rebuild? 15 years ago? It's been a long time. I mean, we were in a rebuild before that. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, who was the GM when Washington was rebuilding? It wasn't even McPhee.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know if these general managers are capable of doing rebuild. They're going to have to sooner or later. They're going to lose their jobs. The only guy who's safe is Lou Lamoriello. He can do whatever the hell he wants. I mean, that's a problem. That's an ownership issue. Ownership needs to step in. They really do. They need to say, all right, no more of this. Because what if he gets a contract extension at the end of the year? What does it mean for the next 2 years and draft picks? What does it mean? We're going to be the Devils. We're going to be the Devils of 10 years ago.
The Devils. The reason the Devils rebounded as quick as it is because they won the draft lottery and got Jack Hughes.
And they stayed the course. They stayed the course by moving veterans and getting draft picks. That's the type of GM we're going to have to bring in here next.
I'm telling you, this Columbus team, within 3 years, they're going to be a team that's fighting for playoff spots. David Jiricek is, I'm telling you, he's the real deal. David Jiricek is playing well in the A already as a first-year guy at 18, 19 years old. I'm telling you, that is a team, Columbus. I know they're at the bottom now. 3 years from now, they're going to have a chance to make a postseason spot. David D. Grumpy.
What a lovely family. Here's a move. Age 27, Chicago, Ty Domi. Ty Domi?
Max Domi.
Max Domi, right. Domi, goals for 24 points. He'll be cheaper than Tarasenko.
10 goals, 24 points, just so we're reading it accurately.
He'll be cheaper than Tarasenko and Meyer. Plus, we do not have assets and picks. We cannot pay those two. If we do sign Bo, I'm on board, but this cannot be the last trade. Bo at age 27 has 4 to 5 good years left in him. But Lou, stop trading and signing 32 and over players to long-term deals that are nothing more than third liners. 100% agree. Now, that's interesting. Would you be willing to take a flyer on Max Domi? TJ?
I'm here, Grumpy. I'm here. It's not the answer. We're just continuing to double down. And I know what he's going to do. I don't agree with that philosophy.
Okay.
So what would I be willing to do? It's different than what they're going to do.
Okay, but if would you be open? Because let's say everyone says, okay, we're going to be adding at the deadline again. Would you be opposed to bringing in a Max Domi?
If we're adding at the deadline, I want to bring in another defenseman. I think I have no trust in Romanov. None. He is a defensive liability. He is an absolute wasteoid on the ice. So if I'm going to add at the deadline, I'm adding a defenseman. I don't care. I'm not adding another forward. If I do, it's going to be a forward not of large consequence, and it's going to be a bottom 6 guy. If I'm adding, it's another defenseman. And Romanov, see you later, buddy. Explosive diarrhea, Grumpy. I'm
looking forward to Monday's game. We play those slimy, scummy Flyers, don't we?
Yes, and I will say this here too. I believe the Islanders will win quite a few games. They've got 5 very winnable games out of the NHL All-Star break. I'm expecting them to be successful and win quite a few of those games.
Well, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, sure.
Seattle should beat us, considering they beat us every time they play us.
Pony Bar Curtis, Grumpy.
Boys. What is up, my people?
What's up, Pony Boy? JG, Grumpy.
I have read 3 different stories spinning the BS on how Lou is done. All the stories said that he had a shot at Tarasenko and Meyer. I think, you know what? He doesn't say anything. I think it's just people. One person says, oh, yeah, the Islanders should get Timo Meyer. Oh, yeah, they should get Tarasenko. But you know what? Nobody knows anything. It's just one person says it and everybody follows. Do we want to do the ad read real quick?
Sure, we can do the ad read, Grumpy. I know you want to get that out of the way.
I do.
Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. Are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, has all the Super Bowl action that you need. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers, and this is all customers, new and existing, can get in on Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boosts. Ooh. Check the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see what prop bet will be boosted. So, hey, Grumpy, you could say, I'm expecting the Eagles to hang and win by 20 points in this game. You can go ahead and pick whatever super boosted bet you want, Grumpy. Let the Eagles going to throttle that Kansas City Chiefs team, Grumpy. And maybe Mahomes could flop for another first down and late hit on the sidelines, Grumpy. You could bet on anything you want at DraftKings. But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code THPN. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes in the description for additional details.
Now, I'm sure there's a list of prop bets for you to pick from, correct? You can't just say
they're going to be listed for you. Yes. Okay. But like, here's the thing. They tell me to talk about some prop bets. So I'm just throwing in some things, Grumpy.
Like, if, let's say I wanted to bet Patrick Mahomes throws for at least 5 yards in this game.
I don't know that's going to get you a huge payback, but yeah, sure. I think you could put that on there.
And then I say, but I want to parlay that with Jalen Hurts at least rushing twice. And Travis Kelce catching a pass.
And I think if you put in $100 million, you may be in line there to get $1 back in return for that bet, Grumpy.
Okay.
But, you can go ahead and say you expect Patrick Mahomes to throw 3 picks. Now, that would be something, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe I'll up it to 4, Grumpy. What do you think the payout would be on that? Anyway, we also do have another ad to read from Raycon. This is the time of the year that everybody is talking about making big changes. And, that's all well and good, but most time, pretty unrealistic. I've actually found that sometimes the smallest changes to your routine can make some of the biggest impact. And, in the same way, you don't have to break the bank and make a big deal purchase. Even the smallest things, can be part of a big change. And that's something that you use every day, like my Raycons. Raycons is a premium audio brand that, is at the perfect price point. You can build great habits without breaking the bank. So when you're at the gym or walking around listening to the podcast, you can have your Raycon headphones in. Whether you're looking for a part of an everyday earbuds, low latency gaming headphones, or a speaker with a battery life that will last you all night at your next party, Raycon has got you covered. And yup, Raycons start out at half of the price of other premium audio brands. So you don't even have to choose between products. You can get one of each or a pair and a spare and still pay less than what you would for some of the other guys. Even though you'll love your Raycons as much as I do, Raycon wants to make sure you feel great about your purchase. They offer a buy now and pay later option. Every purchase, has a free and easy return guarantee. So, your Raycons, they've got the tap functionality. They've got the noise isolation so you can really get in the zone when you're under the bench press. You can go ahead and have the customized sound profile, and they've got the little special custom gel tips so they fit your ears. Even grumpy old man's odd ears, these Raycons fit well. If you're ready to buy something small with a big impact, go to buyraycon.com/THPN today and get 15% off your Raycon order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/THPN.
Wow, nice job. I do have a question, TJ. Now, you mentioned something about it being on the bench press. What if you do over the head press or bicep curls or triceps or cable crosses? What about stuff or squats? What about stuff like that? Can you still wear them?
Your Raycons work any single exercise at the gym. Okay. That's the cool thing about them. But,
Nice. I like it. I like
how
it.
often you get in the overpress chest in or overhead press in these days, Grumpy?
Not too many days.
Grumpy, if your life depended on it, you had, let's say, 150 pounds coming down on you. Could you overhead press that off?
Absolutely.
250 pounds.
If my life depended on it, absolutely.
Grumpy, you'd be crumpled. You'd be crumpled under there. Are you kidding me? How about, let's say 200 pounds, Grumpy? Your life's depending on it. You got as much adrenaline as humanly possible.
I could do it. I could absolutely do it. If I had to, I could.
How about 250 pounds?
No, probably not. Let's just say I'm glad I'm not in those situations where I have to worry about, stopping
you're at the
elevator.
You're at the steel mill, Grumpy, and you're lifting up the steel, making sure you could put it in the next thing to heat it up and to bend it wherever the hell. And 250 pounds, boom, it's coming crashing.
When have you ever been at a steel mill?
This is a hypothetical, Grumpy.
Yeah, like I said, no one's picking up 250-pound bars in the steel mill. I hate to tell you.
Yes, they are, Grumpy. Andre
M says.
Andre M, yeah.
Did you see Sorokin in the skills competition shooting the puck down the ice? He may be the worst franchise goalie in terms of handling and shooting the puck I've ever seen. LOL. All I have to say is, thank goodness that's not what he gets paid to do.
You know how some goalies handle the puck really well, like Rick DiPietro and some guys like that. That's not one of Sorokin's strong suits.
Yeah, I remember when they picked DiPietro and traded Luongo. They said, well, Luongo didn't handle the puck well. That Rick DiPietro, he can really handle the puck like a forward out there. But you know what? He stopped the puck like a forward too.
Oh, gosh.
And Luongo's in the Hall of Fame.
That he is. Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear. This is Steve.
Hey, what's up, Steve? How are you?
How are you? Big fan of the show.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks for calling in. What do you think about this Bo Horvat deal?
Initially, I really don't like the deal. I normally agree with Crump a lot on making the team younger. But it depends on the sign. If he signs, it won't be so bad in the long run.
What contract, Steve, what contract terms would you consider to be appropriate as opposed to excessive?
Oh boy.
You thought, here's the thing, the course gets harder as the class goes on. So you got to have an answer on this one.
I'd say 8 years. Well, he's 27. He's going to be 28.
Right. He'll be 28 in April.
8 million. 8 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 and 8. Okay.
So that's what you're looking for. That's not the excessive portion. Now, if you're putting the Lou Lamoriello hat on, how bad would be excessive? At what price point would you say, oof, that is way too much in cap that we just gave Bo Horvat?
Oh, way too much to pay him? I don't know. We have so many players that, we overpay. So that's just going to add to the list of pay. I guess 9 million. I don't know the player that well. He seems like a good player. I was just hoping, like Crump says, to make the team younger. The team was getting old. I think this is their 4th, 5th year of the same team. Nothing's been happening. It's time to make a change.
Absolutely, Steve. I think it helps the team for the now. I just worry about where this leaves us here in the future. That's always where we've been. And
right,
yeah.
Right. And you built this. I live not too far from UBS. I live 7 minutes away. It's a beautiful stadium, but if we have a bad team, there's a lot of nights I don't even feel like going. Even with the tickets are cheap, I'm just like, just rather watch it at home. And I'm a big Islander fan, but I just rather stay home than go to the game.
Steve, let me ask you a question. Does it seem like there's a lot of empty seats in the arena most nights?
Depending. If you go during the week, my buddy has season tickets. If you go during the week, there are empty seats. On the weekend, it's a little more packed, depending if you're playing a high-profile team. But, as a season ticket holder, you can get great deals. You can sit down low, going through StubHub, doing regular game time, and sit in the second for cheap. Like the other night, tickets were very cheap. It's sad. That's sad. $11 to sit upstairs. That's when the team is. It's not good.
Very true.
$11. Think about this: $11 in New
Yeah.
York to sit upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. When a beer is $18, I had my brother lives in Virginia, he's a big Islander fan, and he came up and I bought 4 beers at $18. It was like $72. So figure that out.
Yeah, I was about to say,
And the tickets were, but
you're telling me you've got to start drinking. You got to drink in the parking lot or drink over the way.
Hey,
Just walk
that's
in
what
the
my
stadium.
yeah,
that's what my dad used to do when he had season tickets to the Jets games. They'd all be getting loaded out there in the parking lot. They got there for a 1 o'clock game. They were there by 10 o'clock in the morning drinking, totally sloshed by the time. And they had maybe a few beers in there, and then they drank all the way home. They used to drive my mother crazy.
yeah.
He'd leave for a football game at 9:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, and he wouldn't get home till 4 o'clock the next morning.
He
He
just
said
had
any wonder they were divorced. Any wonder they got
partying,
a
Grumpy.
divorce.
He was partying. Grandpa was Grumpy.
Yeah, he used to hit every gin mill on the way home. He loved it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. One more thing I'd like to say. My wife actually comes on the show. She writes once in a while. She comes in as Sunday Sand.
Oh, we love her.
Yeah, he's a big fan of the show.
great.
My brother comes on. I'm actually friends with my friend of mine, Eric. Good friends with Tommy Baffy. I've never met Tommy Baffy. I agree with a lot of his stuff, but I've never met Baffy yet. But
That's probably
one day at an Apple game.
That's probably a good thing that you haven't met him.
No, I got to say, I tend to agree. Yeah, more with you, Grupp. I agree the team has to get younger, 100%. The team is just, it's like when you watch other teams play, me and my son watched the Pittsburgh game the other night. They're on a different level than us. They're just so much faster. They're so much more exciting to watch.
True.
As Paul Bissonnette would say, I'd rather have those Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs than those miserable, those boring Islanders. We just don't play an exciting style of hockey.
But the worst thing was,
The
worst thing was you see Jennifer Bottrell laughing about it. She used to work for the Islanders, and Anson Carter, who still works for the Islanders on occasion, and they're laughing. The only one.
Yeah, they should have their back. They should have their back.
Absolutely. And Liam McHugh was the only one who said, "Hey, you know what? I have to be out there on Long Island." Otherwise, he would have been laughing too, I guess, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I don't get the big question is why build the stadium? Why build this big stadium, this amazing stadium, and I have a team to come watch? That's what I don't get.
They have the wrong GM. They have the wrong GM.
I think ownership is in a property grab. I think ownership, the Property Brothers. Malcolm Ledecky.
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, they said Cohen was there the other night, but how could he add the Mets? And I think that'd be way too, or maybe a half partner. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't foresee Cohen buying in. I think it was just kind of like, hey, come to the game. Yeah, but I don't see him buying the Islanders too.
Right. Well, hopefully, they sign, like Trump says, get rid of Mayfield, get rid of Varley. I don't know who else we can get rid. He's even though Trump picks on Lee, he's right. Lee is, but we can't get rid of Lee. The only one I disagree with you, Grump, was Brock Nelson. I still feel like Brock could play with this team. I really do.
It's not that he can't play.
Right. Well, I disagree there.
It's not that he can't play.
Hey, he won the skills competition. He won the skills competition today.
Yeah, you know what that gets you nothing. Absolutely bupkis.
I know you're right. All right.
I mean, here's the thing.
You're right. No,
it's not that I don't think he can play. He's the guy who, if you're looking to rebuild the team, he has the most value, and that's why I said moving.
No, I agree. I agree. You can get something for him. I agree 100%. Well, you know what? If you want Bo to stay, just do what they did with Barzy. They brought him to all the golf courses, showed him Long Island, it's nice to live on Long Island, and maybe he'll stay. Hopefully he'll stay. But I have a feeling this guy's not going to stay. I don't know. I could be wrong.
That's what those Canuck fans were saying. He's testing free agency. So, oh gosh, we're going to be on a wild roller coaster until he makes some sort of determination. But
maybe,
go ahead.
Maybe Lou says it's either going to be your name or your wife's head splattered on this contract if you don't sign.
Oh, good gracious, Grumpy. But Steve, thank you so much for calling in this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Love the show, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Grumpy, I'll tell you. It's either going to be your name or your wife's blood splattered. Grumpy.
As I was thinking, let's say he signs her contract for $8 million a year. Okay. He's not going to get Barzell money. There's no way he's going to get paid like Barzell. Not going to happen. But let's say 8.5 tops, right? For 8 years. With the salary cap going up, it's not as bad a hit as it seems.
Oh my God. You're just trying. It's like you're trying to be like, that Anders Lee contract's not too bad. He's only making $7 million now for another few more years. The cap keeps increasing. It's less and less of my, it's not as, onerous each year it goes by. It's a bad contract. It would be a bad contract.
Jeff B says, good evening, gentlemen. Enjoy the show very much. Thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff, there for the kind words.
Ponyboy Curtis says the last couple of episodes since loser lackluster shampoo Lou, aka Lou Murta, have been mint.
Thank you, Ponyboy. Thank you, JG.
Hope you guys are doing well. Same with you.
Same with you. Hey, Grumpy, look, it's that Apex Legends guy who called in.
I was
Grumpy,
hoping that was him. I was desperately hoping that was him.
Could you not tell that that's like a stock photo?
I don't know. What the hell do I know?
We were listening on Teaching a Grumpy Old Man. We were listening to something that was dubbed over where it was obviously a fake news story about Tom Brady, about the Deflategate or something. Grumpy was thinking, he was like, that's real? And it's just because they slapped like NFL Network on it. It had somebody talking over top of it.
No,
Grumpy bought it hook, line, and sinker.
First of all, I didn't. As I read it,
hook,
I'm like,
line, and sinker.
No, because they started off correct. It was a thing. They had Lester Holt on there, and he just said something, and I started reading the article. I'm like, that's not true.
Well, none of that. It wasn't an article to read, but Grumpy, I'll let you read Apex Legends here. Comment.
Still, no Bo Horvat extension. Lou sold the house for a rental on a non-playoff team. Total negligence. Milbury was better. Wow.
You heard it here first, Grumpy. Milbury better than that maniac Lou Lamoriello.
I'd feel better if we hadn't heard from Vancouver people who was like, man, he's going to free agency. And maybe he won't. But that means that Lou's going to overpay as well. That's what it means. He'll overpay.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hi, how you doing? My name is Robert. I'm just calling in. I've been seeing your show from time to time. Appreciate it. Been an Islanders fan for all my life. And I just feel like that this trade that just went down with Bo, I mean, I feel like it's another waste.
Yeah.
I mean, what Grumpy had said about Roberto Luongo, I mean, what they get. They got Mark Parrish and Ole Kavasha at that time. I mean, Kavasha was a bust, and Parrish was pretty decent.
Don't forget Ole Jokinen was in that deal as well.
We traded away Ole Jokinen too. Yeah, I feel like, we're at a spot to where it's the point of no return. We've continued to double down on this team year after year after year, and we're continuing to do it again this year. It just, I don't know. The hope that maybe we can structure this team so it can compete with the likes of last year's Colorado's team and this year's Bruins and this year's Hurricanes team. We could have had the ability to start, structuring the team in the right direction, but I feel like we didn't take it the right way. But it's a loss for the philosophy of the team, I feel like, Robert.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Especially if you think about it, just think of the Daniel Towers trade.
That good old Big Z.
Especially with Big Z for Alexei. It was, and we traded away a first rounder too for it.
And again, like we're not saying that Atu Ratu is going to be a Zdeno Chara or he's not going to be a Hall of Fame caliber player. You don't believe, but we're just
Bo Horvat's not going to be a Hall of Fame caliber player either.
Well, no, he's talking about trading away these young picks and assets.
The pick is what bothers me the most. Is the pick.
Yep. Yeah.
You can get rid of one.
It's just.
Go ahead, Robert.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, it's just like what TJ said. We have all these young potential prospects, and then we just give them away, and then we give them away for older veteran players. That their time's already going to be done in a couple of years.
So we've got Islander fans out there they're seeing some of the we've done this in the past. We've traded away selections in the past. We've traded away young players. We've traded away picks in the past for current success. We've seen this song and dance, and it launched us into those very dark time periods that we had in the franchise. So fans also see that, and they're just kind of like, whoa, I've seen this song and dance before, is what I think Robert's saying, Grump.
Okay. Well, that's true. We have seen this song and dance. Very true.
But Robert, what else you have for us?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to call in, just say my voice of opinion. You know, like I said, it's just hope the Islanders, you know, get their stuff together. By the way, this is for APAC. Mike Melberry was the shit ass manager. Sorry, my language though.
No worries. Thanks so much for calling in here. I tell you, it's
the thing about Milbury though, he didn't have the monetary backing of the ownership like Lamoriello has. He just didn't.
Maybe it would have been different if he did.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in. Thank you. Grumpy, you know what I just noticed? Are you drinking out of a McCafe cup?
Yeah.
When the hell did you go to the McCafe, Grumpy?
I didn't go to the McCafe. I went, it was late. I was waiting for TJ. I'm like, man, I can't be knowing TJ. I can't be eating at 12. It's not good for me to eat, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's not healthy for me. So I said, well, let me go get myself a little something to eat. And they gave me, oh, sir, you have I said, I did not order a drink because, I have my drinks. And they're like, oh, well, it's Sprite. You can have it. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And I really don't drink Sprite. And I haven't had soda in like forever and ever. But I'm like, hey, I might as well.
Hey, I like Sprite. Brian J says, what's up, guys? JG Grumpy.
When do we start being concerned about the lack of a Horvat contract? I would say, I'll put it to you this way. If Lou Lamoriello doesn't think he can re-sign him a week before or a couple of days before the trade deadline.
Well, shit, he's not going to tell, even if he doesn't think he can re-sign him, he's not going to say, I don't think I can re-sign him.
Well, if the guy says to him, I'm not coming back here, I'm not re-signing with you, and he flips him, then you'll know.
He's
right?
not going to flip him. He's not going to flip him. I've seen that online a few places. He's not going to flip him because that would be admitting that he's wrong. He's not going to do that.
So, okay. But I would say I'd really start getting concerned if it's like, since I'm going to say the Islanders won't make the playoffs a week after the playoffs start, then I'd start being concerned.
I'm concerned come NHL trade deadline time period if he hasn't worked out a contract. That's when I'm starting to get concerned.
That's what I just said to you. And you shot me down. I said the same
thing. You're worried that he's going to be. You worried that he might admit, or he says. All I'm saying is this: if there's no contract signed, I don't care what the extenuating circumstances are around it. If there's no contract signed, I don't care if he thinks he can get one done between the trade deadline and the start of the new year. If there's no contract signed by the deadline, then I'm starting to worry.
Okay.
Matthew S. Grump.
Good evening, gentlemen. Real snooze fest this All-Star weekend. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it.
Yep. Jeff.
I don't see Horvat signing extension. If I was him, I'd test the market. So would I.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Go cash in. David D.
By the way, guys, last night, the All-Star was a circus. Go back to the old format. It was a joke. I can't even watch anymore.
Yep. It was on at the gym, and I briefly watched it. I'm like, yeah, this is a waste. Bo has 10 years left at 10 years left. I tell you, yeah, the All-Star game sucks. Shout out to the Islanders versus Rangers beat our best group, and Ryan Smith all over again. Vinny Smith, Grump.
How can anyone say this trade is good? Okay,
people are looking for the win now.
Well, yeah, but Anthony Beauvillier stagnated here, had to go. If Atu Ratu doesn't pan out, I think he will. I think his high end, he's a second line center, but the first round draft pick for a team that desperately needs an infusion of youth. To me, he and Ratu were the two things. And it's like What do we have left to trade? No one wants any of our old guys. No one. None of the old guys over 30 ever get moved. Not one. We just keep on trading our young guys. So the rest of the league is wrong and we're right. Is that usually the case?
We traded Anthony Beauvillier at his lowest point. We traded away the first rounds. We've traded away the first round pick, and we're at a spot where we're trading away our best young prospect. So we are currently. Frank K.
Hello from Barclays. Wild Nets game with awful officiating. That's just all the way it is now. All the officiating's bad. The speed with which the games are played now makes it tough on the officials. I will say that. Explosive Diarrhea says, by the way, it's a nice Linda Blair picture. Bo will take us to the promised land.
We hope so. You asked. Okay, nobody wants to hear you whistle. What are you doing?
I was whistling the promised land.
I don't want to hear you whistling that shit. You're gonna.
But everyone else does.
No, they don't. And I know it's one thing. The warden hates when you're whistling late at night when she's sleeping.
She can't hear me. She's upstairs.
You know, she can't hear you because she'll come downstairs like, "Stop the whistling." Drew asked Grumpy.
How dare you guys leave us to take a vacation?
Yeah, I know.
It's the first vacation I've had since, gosh, I can't even remember when.
I take vacations all the time, Grumpy. You think you should do it more often. Jason Cameron, Grumpy.
Greetings. Hello, Jason. Always a pleasure. Ponyboy Curtis says, a letter to be named later is up there amongst the human cliffhanger, the three amigos, any joke about hair loss, the $3 million man, defensive back Cooper, Fredo, Croc, Captain Average.
There it is. Drew L. Grumpy.
I actually did like a letter to be named later. TJ and Grumpy, what's up? I thought you guys weren't doing podcasts till the Super Bowl. Maybe I just didn't remember that we had a podcast today.
Yeah,
kind of up in the air if we were going to do this today. And I'm like, because when we have guests on, it's really, really difficult to get to all the comments. It's
no hard. Promises. Again, we get through all the comments today, but we're trying our best. But we want to make sure that we can get some comments, get interaction with everybody who listens to the show, and making sure that that's kind of how the show was founded. That's kind of what the show was based off of years ago. So stick to the roots.
It's hard if you have and TJ loves. We want to hit as many comments as we can, and sometimes you can't do a 10-hour podcast. Just can't do it.
Whatever Curtis said, and TJ complaining the Romanoff trade to
comparing.
That's what I said. And TJ comparing the Romanoff trade to statutory rape. I'm not sure. I've never done that, Ponyboy Curtis. That's never happened. Never happened. Shay Grumpy.
Shay says, honestly, wouldn't be shocked if they put Barzal with Nelson and have Horvat center line too. Then you made a mistake. If he's your number 2 center, that's a mistake. Horvat's a better player than Nelson. He is.
Ponyboy Curtis Grumpy.
TJ, can you bring up the definition of statutory rape and explain to us how that pertains to the 13th overall for Romanov?
I'm not sure. I never made those comments.
And here's the definition. Okay, it was gone.
Here you go, Grumpy.
Statutory Ponyboy gave you the definition, didn't give you even the chance to bring up the definition. Said it's a sexual encounter that may be consensual, but one of the parties involved is not of legal age to consent. Please, TJ, enlighten us on how this pertains to the Romanoff deal.
I think Lou Lamoriello has gone so past the peak on the other end that his brain and he's not able to give consent because he's so old he doesn't know what's going on. And he said, "Sure, let's make that trade." That's how that works, I guess. Ponyboy is what somebody probably.
Or maybe one of the draft picks was still 17.
Meatball Parm says, "Good evening." Look at
Good
that,
evening.
Man. I got to eat some dinner later on today, and that looks good. JG Grumpy
guy, just think you're leaving for your vacation. When you get back, you're going to find Islander Utopia. Horvat signs, and we acquire Tarasenko and Meyer. All of your Islander dreams will come true. You know what? That sounds like kind of like the speech from Napoleon Dynamite when Pedro won the election.
All your wildest dreams will come true.
Yeah.
Mike Mo Grumpy.
Cal Clutterbuck and F- used to sleep with my mom back in the day, and I truly thought one of them would end up being my stepdad.
I think Mike Mo is messing with us.
Maybe he's more familiar than you think.
Cut Shice Revenge, Grumpy.
Why would the Islanders sign Tarasenko? He's going to be another washed up 30-plus-year-old. Yeah, here's the thing. I was all for trading for him 2 years ago when he was 29. I'm not for signing him as a free agent at 31. Joseph C. says, Benoit Allaire is the best goalie coach in the league. He's outstanding. Yes.
I was just a kid. They were all for my mother. Oh God, but it was kind of cool. Jesus Christ. Mike Mo also says Kyle Clutterbuck is a big time barefoot guy around the house type of guy. Oh gosh. Punenberg Curtis, Grumpy.
Grump, what is your opinion on first cousin marriage, and how do you feel about Sleepy Phil's fiction, the human benzodiazepine, ruthlessly and shamelessly defending it? I don't know if he defends it or not, but first cousin is usually not. No, that's
I'm
like
pretty sure that has a chance for like mental being messed up.
Hey, we saw what happened in Godfather Part 3. It ended the franchise, so don't do it.
Drew S. Rump.
Really looking forward to the loser chance at UBS every time Horvat scores. It's not
Lose chance, Grumpy, not loser.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Gosh almighty. Good gracious. Damn. I'm reading some of these comments. Mike Mo. Good gracious. Mike Mo, I don't actually, he's something else. And Mario Grumpy.
I can't believe there are some Islander fans who believe that Lamoriello will be able to get a nice return for Horvat in case he can't sign him. Why would any GM give anything up for Horvat if that's the case? Right, because what does it mean?
Hey, they couldn't get the job done. We're not going to be able to get the job done. Now, this is completely a rental.
That's right. He's going to test the market.
Yep. So, yeah, I agree with that, Mario. They're not, even if he's going to test the market, Lou's not going to tell us first off. We're not going to know, and he's just not going to sign. And he's going to be like, we're working hard and diligently on getting this trade done. That's what's going to happen, and we're not going to sign him if that's the case. We will not know. It's that simple. Robert M. Grump.
Being from Long Island all my life, Islanders just been giving players away that end up being successful. Zdeno Chara, Barra Luongo, and the list goes on and on. Milbury was terrible as a manager. I just feel the Islanders keep giving away and away. It's true. But, there's, like I said, when Milbury was doing it, he was under edict from management. I don't think Charles Wang could have owned the team when they had, not long term, when they have the salary cap floor. He just didn't have the money or didn't want to pony up the money.
Joseph C.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. We just got a lot of comments.
Kyle Dubas will be looking for a job if the Leafs get bounced in the first round again. Very possible.
I think that's very possible.
And it looks like they're going to be playing.
Yeah, that's off. Sorry.
Looks like they're going to be playing Tampa Bay again. That's bad news.
Yeah. That's about to say that about damn blow my eardrums out. Mario said he went with Lambert because he can control them.
True.
Maybe that's it. Drew S. Grumpy.
I don't want to hear this fan base bitch when this thing is in the last place every year in a few years. True.
Yep.
I mean, anyone who's happy about this trade, and it's not the trade per se, it's the direction of the team. Eventually, you're going to bottom out. It's like in the NFL salary cap. You can push that money, but eventually there's 1 year that you're going to have to eat all that money. Your team's really going to suck. And that's the same thing with draft picks. It's going to happen.
Grumpy Mario.
Ratu went from being considered as possible the greatest two-way center in Islanders history to maybe a bottom six guy in the eyes of the idiots who believe this was a great trade. Here's the thing, all fan bases do that. They overhype their prospects when they're with the team. As soon as they get traded, they were junk and they weren't needed anyway. That's how people rationalize it. Just look at it honestly.
Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in? Oh, they hung up. Okay, fair enough. What's up, Frank? How are you doing, Frank? Empire State Construction. Drew S. Grumpy.
How much improvement do you guys expect from our power play? 5% better, 7% better, middle of the league. I think you're going to automatic. I mean, I want to say probably 10% better. Well, what have we scored? 3 of the last 60?
Oh, you're saying 10% improvement, not 10% more production in general. So you're not saying, hey, we're going from a team that scores on, let's say 15% power play opportunities to where now we're going to be scoring on 25 or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't even know what our power play percentage is for the year, but Bo Horvat's going to help us in that regard. Absolutely is.
I think so too, but the extent, I think that's where the question comes in.
So if you have 60 instead of scoring 3, I bet we score it at least 10.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in today?
Michael.
Hey, what's up, Michael? How are you? What do you think about this Bo Horvat trade?
Good. I don't like it. The senile has been giving away the entire first rounders. We have nothing. We're dry. And as far as this Boston connection, this has been going on too long. Melbury, Snow, Lou Lamorello, and hey, Grump, I told you once before that this is a losing culture. Since the days of Di Pietro, this is nothing but a country club. Okay? And this team isn't going anywhere. Okay?
I agree.
Keep on giving up for every year. First rounder. Enough is enough. And then when we get lucky, we get a fifth. If we get the fifth pick, we always flop, and God knows what these guys are looking at a fifth overall. It's always been a failure.
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
I can't see. And then Horvat is going to be asking north of 9, guaranteed. Okay, whether he accepts or he doesn't, I don't know. But either way, this is not good for anyone.
Could you imagine if we gave him a 9-year, or could you imagine if we give him a $9 million a year contract?
What if he scores 50 goals? What if he scores 50 goals?
I told you that before. He's on a career year, and if he's going to be matched up with Matt Barzal, just hitting tap-ins, what to expect, Grump?
Okay, let's say he scores 50 goals. He's going to get paid at least $9 million, right?
He's going to get paid.
He's going to get more than 9.
Oof. Wow.
I mean, I don't. They're not going to offer him more than Barzal. They're not going to offer him more than Barzal. Not going to happen.
Well, somebody else will.
Well, that's what I'm saying. His agent.
He's going on the market.
If his agent's doing his job, he should take him to market. That's what he should do. This is your one shot to max out. And it's not like he has the connection to the island that he had to Vancouver.
No, absolutely not.
And how much of a connection? How much of a connection? How much of a connection do you think you could really have if you spend 5 weeks or 10 weeks in an area? I wouldn't have any connection to anywhere I was for 10 weeks. Unless it's the Louisville College basketball program. Other than that, no.
No. Every time we swing for the home run, these guys, you know what? They split in the end of the year. It's always been like that. It's not going to change. It's got to be out of his mind anyway. If I was him, of course I would. In a heartbeat, I would go and free agent.
Right. Yeah. This is your last shot to make big money in the NHL. This is it for him.
Yeah. 27 years old. He's fine.
He's going to make himself some big money. I feel like he's going to probably test for it. And that's what the Vancouver fans have said. That's what the fans who watch, who are familiar with Bo Horvat say too. Hey, he's going to test free agency. Or if you give him more than 7x7 or 7.5, you're overpaying based off of 1 year's production. And that's what we're doing. If you pay anything more than, $7.5, $8 million a year, you're just paying off of 1 year's production saying, great. I think the tap-in king can go ahead and continue this. I think the redirection in front of the net king can continue. And it's just, what, Grumpy? He's okay. Here's the thing, man. He's never had over 61 points ever in his NHL career. And we're paying a guy who's on more than a point a game tear right now. That doesn't scream, hey, he's going to continue that to me.
Okay.
And you know what? Get rid of Milson. You know what? This is the best time to get rid of him.
I agree.
Trying to get our first rounder and get rid of Lee, Palmieri, all these guys. No need.
Just very true.
No need for these guys.
You're preaching to the choir.
Bouncing now, get something, first rounders, whatever.
I just don't think that
turned around in 3 years.
I don't think Lamoriello's inclined to do that, though. That's the issue. I don't think he's inclined to do that.
He's doubling down on the team. He's not selling anything. All we're going to do is pick up more pieces. That's it.
Yeah.
It's going to make and everybody who wants the future of the team to be well in line. It's going to make us upset. That's all it's going to do. But hey, they're going to chase after one more God. We can trace after the drive for 5, Grump.
Yeah, what's he going to say next year? What's he going to say in the offseason this year? Well, hey, I still believe in this group. Eventually, it's like, come on, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. What the hell? I mean, come on.
Fool me 3 times, Grumpy. but Michael,
it's time to get rid of him.
Yeah, I agree too. I think at the end of this year, when the contract expires, you've got to look another direction.
Yeah. You have to. You'd be insane if you hang on to this guy. And then some.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for calling in this evening. I tell you, you and I share the same sentiment. I think that Grumpy and I do, that it's just a wrong step for the philosophy and for the future of the team. But Michael, thank you so much for the call in this evening.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I tell you, Grumpy, it's good to hear every once in a while where it's just like people are just like, yeah, we agree with everything you say. No, so Grumpy.
You guys are going to love Horvat. He will sign. He's a family man and just wants a stable place to live.
The land.
I hope so.
Well, there we go. Maybe as a Vancouver fan.
Yep, has to happen. For that trade to even to be considered to be a success, that has to happen. If that doesn't happen, it's automatic. It's a 0 as a trade. 0.
You're Grumpy. Joseph C.
Lou liked being behind the bench too when he was with the Devils. Jay had no problem at all sliding himself behind the bench at times.
Here you go, JG Grumpy.
He's also 80 and does not give a poop about what anyone has to say about his piss poor performance as a GM. That's true also. He thinks
everybody else is beneath him. You're just Sunday morning quarterback or Monday morning quarterback. Mario
says Brent Sutter didn't take the Devils head coach exactly because he didn't want to become another one of Lamoriello's puppets.
There it is. Explosive Diarrhea says the Mets still need another big bat. Yeah,
I agree.
Yep, they didn't do that. Drew L. Grumpy.
No. What are you talking about, Grumpy? Anders Lee is a poor man's Dave Anderchuk.
There it is. He's a poor man's Dave Anderchuk, but now Bo Horvat is a poor man's Anders Lee. He's a wealthy man's Anders Lee is what it is, Grumpy.
Okay.
Andrew L. Grumpy.
You guys should watch Bo Horvat's highlights from the bubble playoffs. Very different from Lee. LOL. He's a better player than Anders Lee. Way better. There's no comparison between two.
I'm trying to push my point. So
yeah.
He's not a guy that's going to be scoring a lot of fantastic snipe goals. He's not a guy who's a sniper per se. That's more what the point is. And Shay Grumpy.
I'm going to the game versus Seattle. I'm paying my dues to lose.
There it is, Shay.
Shay has the ability to bring losing upon the team just by showing up.
You should have gone to those last 2 games. We went on that 2-game winning streak. If we lost those last 2 games, we probably wouldn't have made that trade for Bo Horvat. Damn it. Grumpy, Ponyboy Curtis.
Boys, do you like the picture swap?
There he is. He's up there in the stands. There it is. I like.
Look at that. Look at that, Ponyboy. Look at that.
Okay.
What's that hat? What kind of hat is that?
Frank Grumpy.
Here we effing go with TJ. TJ Horvat is way better than Lee. He is. He's better. He's a better all-around player. He just is. Sorry.
Here we go there. Shay.
I finished my solo drawing a little bit ago. Just don't have the confidence to share it. But if you all really want to see it, maybe I'll share it. You know what, Shay? I know you're a better artist than I am. That's for certain. I wouldn't show my stuff because I don't do anything. But yeah, we'd be happy. We'd be proud to show anything you want to show here. No problem.
Or when you feel like it, obviously anytime you want to, just send it to us. We'll show it up there because I want to see.
We'll post anytime you like.
Joseph C.
Apex might be a real senior citizen by the time the Islanders win a cup.
Yes, he will. There it is.
Thanks,
Rick Roma, Grump.
Rick Roma. There's only one thing counts in life. Get Horvat to sign on the line, which is dotted.
Gosh. Rick Roma. Man. Frank Grumpy.
We all knew Lou was going to be making one last hurrah. We expected it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Shay Grumpy.
I'm almost done with the Everly one for Tuesday. I'm going to try to have the guts to try and give it to him. Yeah, absolutely give it to him.
Yes.
Yeah, why? Yeah. Let me tell you something. He'll take it.
He'll be happy to see
Or
it.
maybe he'll just sign it for you because, I mean, he's not going to put it on the bench.
Oh, what are you thinking they're going to do, Grump? Maybe she'll see him at. Well, hold on. Shay sees all these people like Robin Sallow here.
Shay's got some pull. I don't know. She knows how to get herself in the right spot. She knows. Let me tell you something. If we ever go to a game, we got to start hanging with Shay because she knows where to go.
Adam P. Grumpy.
Old Smithers Lamarillo.
There it is. Old Smithers Lamarillo. And then Frank Grumpy.
Is it true the Islanders had a choice on Ratu and DeFore on who they gave up on the trade, and Islanders chose Ratu? Oh, please don't tell me that.
God.
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
I
heard they wanted Ratu.
Oh.
Vancouver wanted Ratu.
I did too. I think Ratu has the most value.
He does. He's a center who can skate and shoot.
You go, Shay.
Shay says, I hate the trade mostly because of Ratu. I had a connection to him and he knew who I was. Yeah, see, that's right. It's just not right, Shay. They did you wrong.
Here it is, Grumpy. This almost looks like it's like, I don't know, like art gem.
Wait, now Shay did that?
Yes, it almost looks like it's, and we'll move the banner too. It almost looks like I don't even know how to describe it. It almost looks like it's like computer, but I know it's not.
I know how to describe it. It's really good.
It is great.
That's really good. Not a little good. That's really good.
Grumpy, how long do you think it would take you to whip up something like this? Just a few minutes, I'm sure, right, Grumpy?
I could probably take a picture of that and just pass it off as my own. So probably not too long. But if I had to draw it, I could never get that.
I was about to say there's no like signature spot for Shay. So Grumpy, you could just go ahead and sign your signature in the bottom left, and no one would be the wiser.
No one would be the wiser. You know, it's interesting because they used to have these things that, you know, hey, they showed like a picture of a turtle or something and like draw this and send it in here. You can win a, scholarship to art school.
The best drawings and win a scholarship to art school. Grumpy, how many of those scholarships did you win?
None.
Oh, but we love it, Shay. Thank you for sending that in. Hey, you're live here with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Who do we have calling in?
Hello.
Hey, can you hear us?
I can hear you. You hear me?
Yes, we can. Who do we have calling in this evening?
Rob, TJ, man. Thank God that you guys are on, man, because I listen all the time. I live in Vegas, and to get my arm fixed, man, it's not like I can turn the TV on and actually watch or hear anything. So I'm glad, man. But I'm also a little pissed off about this whole Bo Horvat deal, man, because it's not the direction that we needed to go in, man. Like, this is really going to hamper our future big time. He's not even going to be around, to even see that. What, the guy's 80 years old. I mean, I think he's going to be, still in the league in another 8 years from now. I mean,
he'll be dead by then.
It's a no-win situation.
How old do you think he's going to be? 100? GM of the Islanders? It's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, he can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's 80 right now. He's not going to be around by the time, some of these contracts are up. Like, it's just he's not going to be around. He wants to do something now, and I just don't think he cares about what happens later on because he's not even going to be there.
Yep, I've said that too. That's why I was just like, he's not a steward for the team long term. He's just a short term conduit.
I blame.
And Grump, man, I agree with you, Grump, because we should have just sold. We should have because we could have actually, if he was tactical enough, we could have really speed up this rebuild. It wouldn't even be a rebuild because, Nelson, Goalie, Mayfield, Parisi, if you can get 3 first-round draft picks out of all that cap space, I mean, you could do something in the offseason, bite the bullet for the rest of this season, go with what you got, and then just hit it over the summer.
Exactly.
And,
that's what he should have done.
That would have been the best thing to do. What's that?
That's what he should have done. But that requires
the best thing to do.
Yeah, that requires a little bit of creativity and thinking long term. I don't think he can do that anymore. He's not looking past his nose. That's as far as he looks.
Well, and then this Horvat thing, it's like
you just half-assed it because him alone isn't enough. I mean, so we end up making the playoffs as well, like a 7th seed. You know, we're not going to win.
No.
We're not going to beat anybody. I mean, everybody's like, oh, just get in. See what happened a couple of years ago. Trotz was coaching.
Yes.
Lee Lambert's not Trotz. It's a totally different system.
Yep.
And we can't even play Lambert's system because we don't have the offense to do it.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just, I mean, I don't get, what is he seeing? I mean, how are we seeing this and he's not?
I think he does see it, but he's so hell-bent on how can we make it to where maybe we've got a chance. But you're right. This is not, we've talked about it before. This is not a Barry Trotz coach team, right? Everybody used to say, hey, just get in the postseason. Anything can happen. Well, the reason anything used to be able to happen in the postseason for us is because we played a very heavy defensive style system. We don't play that same way of hockey anymore.
Too.
Yep.
Yeah, and we had gaps. How much time did we have off in between because of COVID and, you know, all this other stuff?
Yep.
You know, we weren't going to make the playoffs before any of those breaks happened. We sucked. We were sucking. We were garbage. We weren't going to do anything. You know.
Yeah.
Now and then, oh my God, they come back and they look so great and all that. And, you know, it was, you know, everybody got so hyped about it, and it just felt like, to me at least, it didn't. Even if let's say they did win the cup, you know, it still wouldn't. I mean, I've been, you know, extremely happy. You know, 42 years old, and you know, when I started watching hockey and remembering, it was literally right after the dynasty era. So, you know, I've been witnessing shit for years, and you know, half my family's Ranger fans. You know, so that wasn't fun.
Yeah, you're a true fan. You're a true fan. I'm going to tell you something else.
Yeah.
I blame Fredo for this whole thing. If Fredo had produced the type of grandchildren that Lou Lamoriello wanted to hang with, he would have retired by now at his age, and we'd be done with him. I don't know if he has any children, but if he doesn't, get on the stick, help us out, get him out of the front office.
I don't know. How many cousins does he have? Maybe he went to the first one instead of the second or third.
Yeah.
Dilute the genes a little bit. It's just aggravating, man.
It's frustrating.
It's aggravating, man.
It's frustrating. It is frustrating. And
you can't stop rooting. You can't stop rooting for the team. You know what I mean? You can't. You know. So what do you do?
Well, now you can't root against them. I was heavily rooting against the Islanders to further put us into a position where we're going to sell. But now once we're buying and doubling down, you're just kind of like, well, holy shit. Doesn't matter how much rooting against the team I do, we're still going to add. So rooting against the team's not going to do me any good. I guess I just have to. Yeah, we've all got the bus ticket. And we're all stuck on this damn train.
Yeah, and knowing the core the way these guys are, and they've been around forever, and can you really see them like purposely tanking? You know?
No.
I can't.
No.
And they'll play just good enough to just either get into the playoffs or completely miss the playoffs, and you get in the middle round pick. And even at that, we trade them all away. But then if you look back before that, most of our first round picks were always garbage, except for Tavares. You know,
I think we found good value.
Before that, who do we get as a first round pick that actually made a difference?
I think under Lamoriello, we found good value in the draft. You know, we found valuable players in the second round, valuable players later on in the draft, but just continue to trade away.
Was Holmstrom a loot pick?
That was a Lou pick. Yeah, that was a Lou pick. That was one of his three first. Well, technically his only first round pick, the way Grumpy looks at it, because Dobson and Wallstrom were not Lou guys. They were just Lou inherited the the scouting staff.
I got the years different. I thought that was Lou's very first year when he first came to the Islanders. But
he was hired 7 days. He was hired 7 days before the draft. And, so it was whoever their scouting staff had picked.
No, the Wallstrom draft.
The Wallstrom and Dobson draft.
That was also Ishikov, Bodie Wild, etc.
Yeah, so that was all. That Lou gets no credit for that draft. Everyone after that he gets credit for, but nothing before that.
Yeah, and then all the trades he made, I'm convinced he made this team worse. It just feels like he made it worse. You know, Palmieri, you know, just I mean, JC, he was good for first year or two, but you know, signing these guys for 6-7 years and giving them no trade clauses, you know what I mean? You're stuck with them. Like, even if we were to sell everything off, you know, we're stuck with JGP and we're stuck with Lee and we're stuck with Palmieri. You know, it's like, really, you put them on your third line, your third line costing you $21 million or some shit like that, you know?
There it is. Third and fourth line. Well, thank you so much for the call in. I think, you know, we agree a lot there with, you know, kind of the direction of the team. And no, based off the way we're buying, we can't root against them because
I have a quick question. Were you excited living out in Vegas? Were you excited living out in Vegas and you heard Brady was thinking about going to play for the Raiders?
Jesus Christ.
Hell no. I wouldn't even step foot in that stadium. I know guys that built that place, and the fact that it's still standing is amazing.
Oh,
I'm serious. They've rehired so many crews. Like, the last crew that they put on was the first crew that they fired. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well,
I hate it out here.
Thank you so much for the call and thoughts and opinions there on the Bo Horvat move. Thank you. Grumpy trying to shoehorn in Tom Brady any way he can.
Well, we never talked to anybody from Vegas. I was going to ask about the Pro Bowl, but I think that would have been a fruitless venture also.
Yes, I would agree. We're trying to get through a lot of these comments as quick as possible, Grumpy. We're 2 hours in. I know you travel tomorrow. I travel tomorrow. So
I travel way before you travel.
Well, Grumpy, you're too friendly. No, what can I say?
Andre M says, guys, keep an eye out for Alex Jeffries tearing up college hockey. Can skate very well and score. Plus, good on the defensive side of the puck.
I like Alex Jeffries, but you know he's a guy who
kind of
is
older
still
now,
at least. Well, he's still playing college hockey. He's over a point a game type of guy. I mean, he's been there I think for 3 years, but he's a guy who maybe might pan out and be a guy who's a top 9 forward. Adam P. Grumpy.
What can we do as fans? We have to root for Bo. We don't like what Lou is doing, but he doesn't care what we think. True.
Yep.
You just got to boo Lou. That's what you have to do. Just attack him.
Lou. Robert saying gave up way too much.
JG had a comment at the 8:50 mark I want to talk about.
JG, hold on.
Here we go. Okay, TJ, you're freaking so brain damaged.
There it is. Keystone Light, says Adam P.
JG has a comment, says, I saw pictures of Horvat with Nelson and Sorokin. What I wanted to know was, were his hands tied behind his back, and did he have a rag in his mouth?
Okay, great. I saw it. I just keep moving. JG, Grumpy.
TJ, he hasn't played a game yet. Let's at least watch him play a game for the Islanders. TJ's jumping off the cliff.
Yeah. Hey, he hated Romanoff before he played a game, so don't expect that. Hey, Shane, was I right? Was I right? Hey, I save you the time. I'll save you the time.
Beautiful, Shay. Beautiful.
Oh, man. Steve H, Grumpy.
Put Shay's comment back up. I want to know. It's so true.
Grump, you got a lot of comments to get through. Get to reading, Grump.
Steve H says, I'm not sure whether to get mad at Lou or Ledecky for saying, Lou, we need to make the playoffs. I'm not going to tell you how to run a hockey team. You know how. Do what you need to do. Get it done. Well, you know what he should have said? Lou, you suck. You're out the door. We're going to get a younger.
He says, so was Lou forced to make a move?
I don't think so. It's just what he does.
Dick Dosky says, as a Vancouver fan, I'd like to say, thank you, Lou. Damn it, Gump. I told you, Grumpy. No. Brian K says, best podcast. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Lou is Dementia Lou. He's probably thought he was given extra assets to his grandkids.
Oh, there you go.
Don A. Grumpy.
I'm resigned to the fact that this team is Dunsky for the future. So let this old bastard get trade happy. Only way he brings in more firepower is by trading away Varlamov and Mayfield for picks and prospects, then quickly flipping them to Chicago for Taves or Chicago, San Jose
Chicago,
or St. Louis.
Jose or St. Louis. So for Taves or for Patrick Kane, for Timo Meyer, or for Vladimir Tarasenko. Nick D. Grumpy.
TJ Grumpy, how you guys doing tonight? Very nice, Nick. Do you think Malkin will extend Lou's contract, or do you think Lou's career depends on making the playoffs? I don't think it depends on if he make the playoffs. I think if he wants to stay, they'll let him stay. I'm just hoping he says at 80, I want to spend time with the grandkids. You know, I mean, realistically, he's not going to live to be 100.
Yeah.
Right?
But I did want to mention one thing real quick about John's comment. That's what I meant by on the show. Once they made that trade, I said, I'm defeated as a fan. I feel like John's defeated too. He's like, well, I've already accepted that we're going to be done for the future. So might as well go after it all now. Just like I'm defeated as a fan. Max Power, Grumpy.
What's up, fellas? I agree, Frank. Not all the same type of player. Not at all the same type of player. Meaning Lee and Horvat. They're not the same guy.
You got that Sprite coming back up on you, Grumpy? Isles goal, Grumpy.
If Horvat signs, it'll be for 5 years. I totally.
He's going to get close to a max deal, or the max length of a deal that you can give him. He's going to do 7 or an 8 year. Frank K, or that's what he's going to ask. If we give him a 5-year deal, he's going to free agency. Frank K, Grumpy.
What a finish in the Nets game. They won without the big 3 guys. Well, Kyrie asked for a trade the other day, too.
I did see that.
Again.
I did see that. Nick D, Grumpy.
I hope that Bo doesn't turn out to be another ex-Canuck bum. I don't think so. I think he's going to do well here.
John McManaman, Grumpy.
Grump, get those Auburn shirts out. Matter of fact, John, I'm taking both of them on my trip. Basketball top. I could dig them out of my bag, which is right there. Basketball top 25. Football is back with the top 4 transfer portal recruiting and just got one of the top quarterbacks in the 2024 class committed. John, things are looking up for the old Wild Eagles. Go Tigers.
You mean the War Eagles?
War Eagles. What did I say?
The Wild Eagles.
Oh, yeah. Well, War Eagles, Wild. Yeah, that's true.
Dick Dosky says
8.5 for 8. What do you think?
Yikes. He'll be 36 by the time that contract. Think about this. He turns 38 before the season ends. 28. I'm sorry. He turns 28 before the season ends. Yikes. Mario, Grumpy.
Grump, when trying to read an article behind the paywall, disable JavaScript on your phone and the reload, the page problem solved. After you've done reading, enable JavaScript. Otherwise, web pages won't open properly on your phone.
Okay, Mario. I do appreciate you trying to explain this to Grumpy, but this is the guy where sometimes we struggle if his mic's not working. I have to ask him, did you turn the microphone on, Grumpy? Do we have it plugged into the computer? So
TJ, do you know how to do that?
He's not going to be able. Yeah, I could do that. Yes, I could do that.
Okay, well, you're going to have to show me how to do that because there's some articles I want to read on my laptop.
I can't, Grumpy, because you're going to be like, nothing.
Oh, so you can't do it.
It's like dealing with fire, Grumpy, if I'm going to try to teach you how to do something like that. That's what that is. Good gracious. He was just mad because he turned down 7x7 from the Canucks. He was mad. So they gave him a 7.5x7. I don't know. We already overpaid for Barzal, says Islander goal. Oh, God. Max Power, Grumpy.
However, that being said, trading away Ratu was a big mistake. I would have preferred Holmstrom or DeFore. I would have preferred Holmstrom, absolutely, or DeFore. But I'm sure there wasn't too much interest in that offer. Exactly. They wanted Ratu. And Lou said, yeah, sure. I'll offer you this guy. No, we want this. Okay, take him. I'll give you first round or 2. Anything to seal the deal.
Lou Lamarillo, Grumpy. Keep reading comments there. Keep picking up where I put off. I'm pulling something up here.
Okay. Frank Kaplan says Islanders are a mess. How are we going to build this farm back up? Lou is a jackass. I don't have high hopes for Horvat whether he extends or not. Lou won't be gone. Book it. Dictators dictate till they die. That's true, Frank.
We got something here. TJ talked with Alan May 2 days ago. He said the Capitals management is convinced Horvat will sign 8 years by $8.5 million per. Lou will get a 2-year extension.
Oh.
The Islanders will trade and sell the prospects, sell picks and prospects for another top 6 forward. Oh my God.
I just see. It's like you just keep on throwing away your future.
Alan May also said that every team would die for Anders Lee, 30-goal scorer, regardless of contract and
Who said this? Who said that?
Hold on a second, Grumpy. It's from a Caps individual. This is from somebody in the Capitals organization.
He wants Anders Lee. He can have him.
He said Capitals think that the Islanders will just retool every year as long as the Islanders are close to the playoffs. He said that
Close to the playoffs, not even close to contending. Now it's not contending for the cup. It's not cup or bust like it was last year. Stanley Cup or bust. Remember Lamoriello and Trotz, Stanley Cup or bust. Now it's like, well, you know what? Let's lower the expectations. Let's just dump all our prospects, throw away our future, just if we're close to a playoff spot.
Yikes.
Why? So you get rolled in the first round every year?
Yikes.
Stop.
And also says there, Trotz let the money get to his head, and it changed after he got the money. Got a little cocky. I tell you. Oh, my God. Could you fucking imagine this? Can you?
Okay, next con. Dick Dosky says the hockey guy is delusional.
There it is. Got a comment here from Adam P.
Hello. I'd love one of my comments read. It's been a few broadcasts. I think I make decent points. You do. Matter of fact, Adam, I think we've read a number of your things today because
we try to read
the picture. I remember the picture.
Yeah, we try to get through all the comments there, but it doesn't always happen.
THG,
the hockey guy, is a huge
Vancouver fan also.
Lou equals why not the 4? I don't know what that means. The hockey guy is a Vancouver fan, said the Islanders won outright, says Veritas Invicta.
Okay.
You know what it has been? He's been to Rogers Arena and he's been watching shitty production from the Vancouver team from so many years now that he's just lost his fucking mind, is what it must be. Here's the thing. He has to notice, right? This is a guy having he's having a career season and a contract year. I mean, like if he ignores it, I don't watch any of the hockey guys stuff as you could tell, right? I didn't even know who the hell he rooted for. I see like sometimes he does little clips and he opens up little jerseys, which are kind of cutie, but that's about it. Dick Dosky, grumpy.
He also said re-signing Besser was smart. So the hockey guy is not too bright.
Oh, gotta love it. Goals are goals, says Frank. And one more breaking goalie goal than the Islanders have.
Good one.
Pony McCurtis said, "Boys, how you got boys?
You guys are high profile. Get a guy like Andrew Gross calling in.
I know we were fortunate, Pony Boy. Very fortunate.
Very much so. Very much so.
JG grumpy.
TJ, it doesn't matter how the puck goes in the net. They all count the same. True.
And Max Power grumpy.
Yeah, the hockey guy is very knowledgeable on all teams. That guy watches hockey all day long and posts tons of good hockey content.
I just think maybe he missed a mark on this one. Hockey guy's a clown. We need a sniper, says Islander Goals. Anthony Rizzi said there's no
talking me off the ledge, Grumpy. I'm jumping. Can't do it anymore. Hang in, Anthony. Hang in.
Joseph
Don't jump. We need you.
Joseph C. Grump.
The hockey guy is solid, but he always says the team that gets the best player wins the trade.
That's usually how it is too, but
it usually is how it works.
I'm just not sure what a guy who puts up like 55 points a year, if he's really that fantastic on average. Once again, Brock is awesome, and he was huge in the playoffs, says Frank. Sorry, you're wrong about him, Grump.
Okay, you're missing the point, Frank. What I said was he's the guy who has the most value, so he's the guy I would move. At that stage, when I'm moving Brock Nelson, it's because I'm looking for, hey, we're doing a full, like not full rebuild, but we're transitioning from the old. Who can get us the most assets? That's why I said trade Brock Nelson.
Isles Goal says here, Lee has had 2 one-timers this season. And Anthony Rizzi says, I predict no first-round picks for 10 years with this club. Oh, gosh.
Think about that.
JG says, remember when Alexander Ovechkin scored an empty net goal to go ahead of Gordie Howe?
Yeah, but he's had like, 800 other ones, so.
John, Mech Isaac, Grumpy.
Who is the guy that's asked about the Myers trade?
Meyer.
5 questions, hilarious. That's called the Red Lupin Power Ranger.
But hey, Timo Meyer is extremely talented, but we don't have the firepower to bring him in unless we're trading away every future asset we have. Dick Dowski said the New York Islanders will miss the playoffs. The Canucks will get the 14th overall pick this year.
You know what? That sounds pretty accurate to me.
That sounds pretty Islander-esque.
Yeah.
Barzal lose it, or either loses face-offs or gets thrown out of the face-off circle.
He's not the best face-off guy. He's not.
But Curtis said Lee has never scored more than 2 feet from the net. Maybe only like twice.
He had a nice goal early this year, though.
He did. Max power, Grumpy.
Basically, we won't know definitively who won the trade for a few years. Once we see the player Ratu develops into and who's the first rounder is, then we'll know.
Well, here's the thing, too. You know, just because they select somebody in the first round doesn't mean that's the guy we would have selected. But you could say, okay, if there was a guy selected right after the selection or 2 picks after it, right, that's still a loss of a pick. Anthony Rizzi, Grumpy.
Just shows how disconnected Lou is with this club. He's going to mortgage the future. So in hopes of the last 30 games, we can turn it around. Where was this in the offseason? Exactly. That's when you retool your team is in the off season, not in season, because you panic and pay extra prices. He's a fool. He can't do the job anymore. Sorry, can't do the job.
Steve Higashi, Grumpy.
You put the face-off winner at center. Yep. It's just common sense. If Barzal goes to the wing, his game gets simplified. He doesn't have the responsibilities of a centerman.
Yep, I think absolutely more offensive-minded then.
He absolutely has to play with Horvat, though.
Anthony Rizzi.
And he also says, I thought we had some decent owners finally. Boy, was I wrong. Can we get Steve Cohen to buy the team? I just don't think they know enough about hockey, and they trust Lamoriello or Bettman, who talked them into Lamoriello. Who knows?
Joseph C. said, Kadri sucks this year.
Yeah, I never want
to. The entire Calgary team has struggled. I don't know. I got to pull that up. Nazem Kadri's stats. I don't watch enough of those Calgary games, but I thought he was putting up decent numbers. Okay, 50 games played, 19 goals, 19 assists on that bad Calgary team. I don't know.
Well, that's not worth. What do you get paid? 7.5.
I couldn't tell you. I'll pull it up. He's going to get paid less than Bo Horvat's going to get paid.
But he's also older than Bo Horvat.
Here, Grumpy.
Johnny Mac says all-star events were stupid, ridiculous, and too woke for me.
I did see they had like that golf thing. I was like, ugh. I was like, that was a waste. I was like, they'd like play golf with the hockey sticks. I'm like, what a shitty freaking display. I know they're trying to like appeal to more people, but I'm like, that's not the way to do it.
All you do is turn off your fan base. That's all you
do. Ponyboy Curtis, Grumpy.
Damn it. Looks like Andrew Gross sparked up a huge debate over the hockey guy.
Uh-huh. There it is. Andrew Holland there says, most Canucks fans are upset.
Good. That makes me feel better. I like Bo Horvat. TJ doesn't like him. I've always liked him.
That's correct. I don't like him. Isles goal, Grumpy.
Barzal should not be a center. Doesn't want to put in the work of a center. I disagree. I disagree.
Come on. Isles goal. Don't shit on. Come on. He does everything. He's been playing. He's been centering guys like Leo Komarov, ancient Zach Parise, Kyle Palmer, third line guys over and over. Dick Toski, Grumpy.
Grumpy will be upset after Horvat's first 3 games.
Oh God. I
Don't
want
say
to hear that. Andrew L. Grumpy.
Well, TJ, when you compare anyone to Lee, they're going to sound like the second coming of Christ.
Frank K said Horvat's a decent skater, nothing amazing. John A says Horvat's an all-around player, nothing spectacular, not a sniper by any means, but he does everything well. See, like that's not what we needed.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's not what we needed.
Not for $8.5 million a year.
Not for a first-round pick and our top prospect.
And $8.5 million a year.
Anders Lee is Matt Molson 2.0.
Oh.
Barzal will assist and score way more on the white right wing, says Frank. Mr. B, Grumpy.
I'd rather have a 28-year-old Horvat on an 8x8 than a 32-year-old Tavares with 5 years left on a 10x10. John Tavares is a really damn good player. I mean, who would honestly?
John Tavares is a way better player than Bo Horvat.
He's a better player.
Mario says average Anders and above average Bo, but Bailey on the other wing, and you got the AAB line, average, above, and below.
I like it. Very good.
This means that Bo Horvat's Matt Molson 3.0, says Steve Higashi. I like it.
Matt Lulson 3.0.
Yeah, Matt Molson. Matthew S says, unfortunately, Horvat is more of what we already have in Nelson.
I mean, that's what the team is. He's got 31 goals. Who gives a shit how they went in? He's got more goals than anyone on the team already. Very true.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the reason I care about that is we don't because 31 goals. Okay, this is the most goals he's ever scored in a season is this year. And if his goals are going in a certain way somewhere else, how do we know how that translates with a guy like Matt Barzal? Wrong, Bo. He's much wrong. Bo is much better than Andersley, says Andrew.
Much better.
Mm-hmm. Joseph C says, with New York taxes, you're probably talking about at least $8.5 million a year. Oof.
You didn't think about that, did you, Bo?
Isles goal.
He's just not a sniper. That's what we need to add now.
Imagine how expensive adding a sniper is going to be.
Very expensive.
Wally's not a sniper. Laughing my ass off. Maybe in the ECHL. Oh, stop.
Wow.
We do need a bona fide sniper. I agree. Max Power says, holy shit, the skills competition has become absolutely unwatchable. It really is. I was kind of like, I haven't tuned in to any all-star events in years. And I was at the gym when it was going on. I'm like, cool, I get to watch it as I'm working out. It was awful. Hard to watch. The Lupin
Unwatchable.
Ranger, Grumpy. Lupin Power Ranger. I'm sure we're going to get
There he is, CJ.
Drew S. Grumpy.
That's a scary breakdown of Horvat's goals. I hope he at least brings something to the shootout table.
Oh my gosh. Freaking gosh, Horvat, Grumpy. Bailey will be here in a decade, says Isles Goal. Oh God, don't even joke like that. Adam P. Grumpy.
The Islanders will always be a failing organization. The 4 Cups might have been their peak. Well, that is their peak. This team is always run by incompetence and cheap conservative management structure. True.
Got a comment here from Joseph C. Grumpy.
The Devils are going to have a hard time keeping that core together. The cap is going to bite them eventually.
Yeah,
True.
it will. But they're going to have some really, really talented players.
What they should be is proactive, signing their young guys now and lock them in before the cap goes up. That's what they should do. Establish who are your core guys, sign them early to below market deals than they get when they hit UFAs, pay them a little bit more when they're RFAs, and then backfill from there.
Frank says you need to know the one-timers separate. What the fuck? Who does these breakdowns? We need to know how many one-timers, says Frank.
True.
Yeah. Max P says getting rid of Josh Bailey is going to cost us Noah Dobson. Oh gosh. David Sean McDonald, Grump.
I gotta say, I don't like the trade. I think this is going to hurt us. We had a chance to really turn this trade around this offseason if Lamoriello was tactical and cared about the future. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole frustrating thing for me. Just is.
Adam P. Grump.
The Penguins have always have the league in their back pocket. Oh, okay.
They always get fortunate. They always do.
They did 2 years.
Says it's going to be interesting to see who Vancouver drafts with their first round pick this offseason. Don't get me started thinking about it. Exactly. Super Mario and Yamir. Yes, Grumpy.
It makes the draft shows insufferable when your team's not picking them.
But you don't watch them. Just don't tune in because we've got no reason. I'm not watching day one coverage of the fucking NHL draft this next year.
Okay.
What's the point?
Okay. So we will just to let everyone know we will not be doing an NHL draft.
We don't have a pick in the first round already. What the hell is the point?
That's what I just said.
Adam P said exactly. Super Mario and Yamir to Sid and Malkin on the verge of the Penguins going bankrupt. How does that happen?
Well, remember, they won the draft lottery with, I forget how it worked out, but they got the second pick and Malkin was the first one. I think there was a strike in there.
Lockout.
Or something, a lockout, and they got the second pick, which was Malkin.
Isles Goal.
There are no rebuilds anymore, retools. It's just when you change the definition of what you're doing, that's all.
Prince Chicken Wings.
Oh, I like that name. It's got a Daniel Jones picture up. Penguins rebuild 2001 first overall, 2004 second overall, Fleury in 2003, Malkin in 2004, and first overall Crosby in 2005. Sometimes real rebuild takes lucks. But here's the thing, you got to know who to pick. You got to know who to pick. And those guys were generational talents. Not Fleury so much, but certainly the other two guys.
Trade Mayfield and Varlamov for Timo Meyer or Tarasenko. Yeah, well, good luck.
He's not doing that. He's not moving.
We're not trading pieces like that away. And either way, no matter what happens, Bailey is going to weasel his way back onto the top of the line. At some point, we all know it, says Pony Bear Curtis. Absolutely, you're right. John A. says Columbus will ascend quickly. I 100% agree, especially if they win the Bedard sweepstakes.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine Bedard playing with Gaudreau?
How many first overall picks have to be in the Metro division?
They have young defensemen in their pipeline, too.
Yurchek is legit. I'm telling you, he's legit. Watch out. I'm telling you, Columbus is going to be a team that's fighting for a top 3 spot, fighting for, being in the top 3 of the Metro 3 to 4 years from now. Adam P. said, so if we won the lottery with John Tavares, why didn't our team go on the rise? Why? Because our owners suck. That's right. I forgot. Look at how many of these in the last 2 decades the Metro has won of the draft lottery.
Yeah. You got the Devils winning, the Rangers.
Fleury, Crosby, Ovechkin was the first overall selection.
Yep.
And then you're looking at John Tavares. We're looking at Jack Hughes. We're looking at Alexis Lafreniere. You're looking, possibly Columbus might win. You're looking at seven possible different Metro teams
in 23 years. That's about average, right? Isn't that breakout?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's not. Okay, I guess that's about average. Well, here's the thing. But if you look at the guys, those first overall selections, every single one of them have been hits, really. Maybe you could say Lafreniere might not be, but there's no Nal Yakupovs, there's no Galchenyuk's mixed in there. It's not like you've had any busts, unfortunately, for the first overall selections that have
Galchenyuk was number 3 pick.
I'm just saying Nal Yakupov was in that same draft. Yakupov was the first overall pick. I'm just saying sometimes they're first overall picks that are busts.
Sure.
There's not like Ryan Murray's or anything like that. Trade didn't work out. Eric Johnson's, there weren't, I'm sorry, those picks didn't work out. There's none of those. But continuing along there, Grumpy.
Grumpy, I just wanted to let you know that RJ Barrett going full clutch mode again today. So we hit 1 basket in the last 5 trips down.
Gotta love that. Frank says, hate all the Domies. And Isles Gold says, no on Domi. I'm good on Domi. Next says Max Power. Okay, so not a lot of love for Max Domi. Grumpy. MC10 says here, Bo Horvat had subpar
wingers for most of his time in Vancouver. Pearson, Roussel, Vertinen, Goldobin, Schaller, Leipzig, Eriksson, Mata, etc. Besser is pretty much the only talented line mate. I like Brock Besser.
John A.
Oilers drafted in the top 5 for many years and won the mother of all lotteries, and are still a mediocre team. It's all predicated on management and ownership. Curious to see who'll be running this sinking ship when we replicate the Oilers' years. Oof. Well, we don't have anywhere near the talent the Oilers have.
Point for Curtis, Grumpy.
Look at the freaking Bo Horvat padding his stats with bullshit empty netters. Croc 2.0.
Oh, gosh. This team can use a bottom 6 forward with speed.
Fashing. Got one of those already. Just don't play him. I think he's hurt.
He's hurt, Grumpy. Yeah. A few more comments here. Isles Gold, Grumpy.
Problem is the Islanders don't beat the bad teams they should beat. They used to do that.
Yep. No lies there, says Matthew S. And the Islanders beat a lot of good teams, but yes, lose to the weaker teams, aka play down to the competition. Hate that.
Good. Not good.
Paulo C. Grumpy.
TJ Horvat is a much better player than Sleepy Lee. Lee isn't a good captain anymore. Lou has to find a way to trade him, so Horvat will replace him. Horvat has leadership and is captain material. Yeah, he is a captain type guy.
Max Power says, you know what we need? Another bottom 6 grinder who can sign up for another 6 years. The only thing standing between us and the cup. Yeah, there it is.
Actually, the only thing standing between us and the cup is, all the playoff teams in the league.
Jesus Christ. Is Trevor Linden available for general manager, says David Sean McDonald. Al's Goal said, we need to change our system. We are a perimeter team. We avoid the slot like the plague. We love to shoot from bad angles. Horvat will not go well in a system like that.
I disagree. I think you see a lot of our guys crash in the front of the net. It's how we score most of our goals. We got a bunch of guys standing around the net who'll bounce around, will chip it in or pop it in or somehow. We have some perimeter Petes on our team for certain, but we have guys who are not afraid to go down low and mix it up.
Max power, Grumpy.
I'd love to be able to move Lee and give the C to Horvat. Only problem is, what GM is crazy enough to take him for 3 more years? Exactly.
Brett W.
Don't remind me, Grumpy. That Luongo trade and DiPietro pick were 2 of the worst moves in team history. I say that is the worst trade in team history. So that sets your franchise back almost 10 years.
Paulo C. Grump.
Horvat is a captain, power forward, and his all-around game is much, much better than Sleepy Lee. Don't even dare to compare.
Lee, Sanders Lee 2.0. David D. Grumpy.
Honestly, TJ, you think Casper the Ghost, Bailey, or 38-year-old Parise is better than adding another forward? We definitely can get a player like Tarasenko if we include Pajot in a trade. We know Lou will not do it. Then after that, you can add a third pair defenseman. Mayfield will definitely not be re-signed. He'll be getting $4 million on the open market. Can't you see him trying to re-sign Mayfield too?
He's gonna, Mayfield's gonna make 4.5. I think 4.5 to $5 million on the open market. They're not trading away Jean-Gabriel Pajot. He's not trading away any pieces, even to acquire somebody.
Young guys.
The only thing this guy is trading are people who do not make an immediate impact on the roster. That's it. Everybody else who makes an immediate impact will not get moved. Could be our backup goalie. He's not getting moved. The only pieces we're trading, draft picks, draft capital, and young prospects. That's it. But Grumpy, man, I know we're not going to get through all the comments. I know we originally had started off. We wanted to do that. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at way too many comments here to get through. I know we travel tomorrow, but Grumpy.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Andrew Gross tweeted that Bo Horvat isn't looking to extend right now. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Let me pull up that tweet. What a way to end our show before we go on vacation. Hold on a second.
Why would he? It doesn't make any sense. Here's the, I don't know if that's true or just.
Well, I'll be pulling it up, so give me a second.
If you were a free agent and this is the one and only time you're going to get the cash in, you wanted to stay in Vancouver, would you not? Why would you not test the market? You're like one of the top 2 or 3 guys on the whole market.
Yep.
Why would you not test the market? It makes no sense to me. You can pick and choose where you go. Would you want to stay on a team that is loaded with guys in their 30s? Or do you want to go to an up-and-coming team? A team like Carolina who absolutely wanted him. A team like Boston. I mean, think about a team like the Devils. Could you imagine going to the Devils? I mean, those are the type of teams I want to go to. Young teams with futures. I don't want to go to a team that's like on the downside. I mean, is that enough time to let someone know that, if your family's going to be happy there? You have no idea.
Andrew Gross says here, Bo Horvat said he's not thinking of a contract extension right now. He'll let his agent, Pat Morris, and Lou Lamoriello deal with that for now. He just wants to start playing hockey for the Islanders to get comfortable. Okay, he's not signing back.
No, he said to let his agent deal with it. He's not thinking about it. He's going to let his agent handle it.
Okay, he's going to have to be the guy who makes the decision, Grump, but he's not concerned about thinking about it because he's just worried about starting to play hockey. This is your response from a guy who has no intention on signing back. No intention on signing before free agency. None at all.
I just interpret that a little bit differently than you do.
Hey, I'm going to let my agent and Lou Lamoriello work that out for right now. All I'm focused on is playing hockey.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the response wasn't, hey, we want to find a spot where we're going to be permanently. And I think that maybe, Long Island could be one of those places, but we want to get out there. We want to start playing hockey and making an impact and helping the team get to the postseason, but we're absolutely considering being here. No, his response was, I'm not concerned with that. I'll let my agent and Lou handle that. He ain't fucking he's not signing here. He's not signing here. Absolutely not signing here. Don't worry. Read between the lines. Use your big boy thinking cap. He's not signing here.
Okay. I don't know if he's going to resign here.
Blow the team up again, Grump.
I didn't read it. I didn't read it the way you read it. I'm just going to say I didn't read it the way that you read it. So sorry.
Andrew said, I like how TJ jumps it right back to him not signing. It proves my point and taking it to the extreme.
You realize I'm supposed to be the grumpy, irrational one, right? That's me.
Robert
Why
Harley
do I have to be the rational one? That's your job.
Robert Harley says here, Canucks fan here.
That's
I
a
love
nice
Bo.
picture. Robert, I love that picture, man. If that's a picture of you, you're looking good, my friend.
Absolutely. Canucks fan here.
Love Bo, but I want to thank the Islanders for taking him off our hands because we weren't going to pay $8 million for 8 years. Thank you, Lou. Oh, boy.
Blow it up. He's basically saying he's not answering any questions regarding my contract. There's a way to answer questions and a way not to. You could say I'm not doing that, but we're trying to find a place that can be permanent for us, and we think Long Island could be one of those. That's okay. It's a nice way of saying, hey, we're considering this as a serious spot. But when you say I'm not bothering with that, hey, I'm going to let my agent handle that. I'm going to let the agent and Lou Lamoriello handle that.
You know what? Zach Parise is done. He's finished.
What makes you say that? Just
watching his game this year. He's out of gas. He's done. He's finished. I
went ahead and told Phil's facts. He's like, well, who could we see with our older, our average age of our forward group is 30.8 years old. So I said, who could we see falling off? I said, Parise's already fallen off.
Yeah.
He's going to continue to fall off too.
Martin, done.
Yep.
Casey's been good for most of the year. Clutterbuck doesn't even play. He's hurt all the time. Just, Bailey, finished. Got a lot of those guys.
Should be Parise, Horvat, and Barzal.
No, Parise can't play anymore. He's done. Done.
Jeff Elmer says Brock Nelson not existent today.
It's an all-star game. That doesn't matter. All right, here's the thing. He's playing against really, really good players.
Yeah.
So what do you expect from him? He's not that good.
Jackson T said, guys, I was ready to blow it up and trade for picks, but now I have a feeling we should keep buying for some reason. Well, it's the only thing we can do. He's already I'm telling you. I reasonably expect us to go on a few game winning streak when we come back. We're on a 2-game winning streak now. I expect us to win some more. What a films, Grumpy says. Well, boys, we got ourselves a hell of a player. His dad was a legend in St. Thomas, my hometown. Played Junior B with the St. Thomas Pests and Stars. I played with him for a while. Tim Horvat, a legend.
Maybe we should have got his dad.
We could still maybe bring his dad in, Grumpy. That he fits the
age criteria.
Absolutely.
Check that box.
Absolutely. But Grumpy, we're here at the end. Where are you guys vacationing, if you don't mind me asking? To Orlando, Florida. Sunny Orlando, Florida. Getting some nice heat, getting some warmth in the body. But Grumpy, what do you want to say before we start wrapping things up? 2 hours and 40 minutes in. We got some travel. You got some travel tomorrow, but what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I got to get up ACD tomorrow.
What does that mean?
Ass crack of dawn, very early.
Ass crack of dawn.
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't. From TJ and the grumpy old man, we're sorry we couldn't get to all the comments today. It's hard though. It's hard. And TJ does an awful lot, so I try not to get on too much about that because he's like a one-man show over there. It really is. So good job, TJ.
I'm glad we got to do a call in with everybody today. It's been a while since we last had a call in show. So, I know that obviously this Bo Horvat trade is a big one. We got the deadline coming up. We'll have a lot of guests on the show here when we return, and pretty much until the end of the year or the end of the regular season, we'll have some sort of guest on pretty much on a consistent basis. So wanted to make sure we had a chance to connect with listeners of the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, for calling in, for commenting. Sorry if we didn't get to your comments, but we trust me, we read all the comments at the end of the show. And Grumpy and I, there are some that just still crack us up so much. We're like, oh crap, I wish we would have saw this one and talked about it on the show. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, for commenting. And we really do appreciate that. Thank you, Grumpy, as always. The next time we'll be with you guys here is going to be on February the 15th. That it'll be not this upcoming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. So just, hey, don't think if the Islanders start playing well, oh, TJ and Grumpy went in hiding. We're on vacation. We will be back February the 15th with our normal scheduled show. Now, this is one I've got to show you, Grumpy. Stephen Bauer says Maggio is a player. Bo was coached at the level by scumbag Islander villain Dale Hunter. But here's the thing. Now, Maggio, are you familiar with Maggio, the overage guy that we drafted last year?
Yes.
There's somebody online who has been saying, all I know is I keep hearing about how the Islanders don't have young talent and forward group, but Maggio is really producing. Can you guess who it is, Grumpy?
It's Phil. It's got to be Phil.
Fucking Phil.
Because that's the type of goofball response I expect for a guy when we draft a 20-year-old who's playing with 18-year-olds.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit as Dufour. Same shit. Except his numbers are a lot worse than Dufour's numbers were.
Phil needs an intervention. He's a loose cannon, that guy.
Phil is a maniac. He's a maniac, Grumpy.
He's shot.
But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you on February the 15th. Sorry if we didn't get your comment there. We'll see you guys on the 15th. Thank you again, Grumpy.
My pleasure.